everybody, and welcome in Mystery with Mr. B for the special Halloween 2024. Hello, Ned. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing excellent. Thank you for having me, Jerome.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. So, hi, everybody in the chat. Got a text film? Yeah, Russ, Darkside, hi. Get that Steve. Charlie don't serve. Why you don't serve? I don't understand. Why you don't serve? Oh. So today we are here to talking about our favorite horror movie and our favorite director, and why we love this movie. And we are also talking about the Halloween card sending by the Zodiac and some stuff related to this card. Some murder who happening in the 70s who was not resolved. Uh, so, so, Ned, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine. I must say, I think Jerome has me beat for a costume. You guys might not be able to see everything here, but I am a Chicago White Sox fan for Halloween, the most horrific thing you can imagine. The White Sox are coming off the worst season in Major League Baseball history, more or less, and there's nothing scarier than that. Also, a big congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the World Series and everything. And, some of the former White Sox are on there, like Michael Kopech, a great pitcher. Hey, everybody, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, happy Halloween, 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 happy
The
Halloween.
Shingle Snoopy
Everybody
side,
make a
the
scene.
Great Pumpkin.
Uh, Snoopy. Snoopy is the worst. Oh,
Yes,
I'm
very
fighting.
mean.
Hello, Just Naz. Hello, Anthony Haynes. Haynes Anthony. Hello, everybody. So, we will start with, I don't know, maybe starting with, yeah, be serious 1 minute and come back with Mr. B.
Yep. Whoa, that's me. Yep. Oh, hello,
Hey, welcome
everybody.
back, Jerome.
Hello.
Nice
How
to
are
see
you
you
doing, my
again.
friend?
I'm doing just fine.
Yes, me too. I'm fine. Let me take my glasses because I need my glasses for the screen. Okay. So today we are going to talk about, like the monster was saying, the favorite movie we like and the favorite director we like. And why is that? Yeah. And but first, like I'm with Ned here, we can start to talk about the Halloween card sent by the Zodiac Killer and the things related with this card. So, Ned, you have made a video today about Halloween because it's Halloween. And I don't have seen the video, sadly, but I'm going to let you explain what you were saying in your video about the Halloween card and what's going on around the Halloween card, the inspiration for this card, the murder who happened in the 1970.
Oh, yes, well, everybody, hello. Most of you guys know me. My name is Ned DeHaan, and I am the host of Black Box Online Radio. And I released a morning episode where I was talking about the Zodiac Killer's Halloween card, which was mailed on October 27th of 1970. In the months preceding up to the mailing of the Halloween card, there were three murders that occurred in San Francisco, which were called either the San Francisco Jack the Ripper murders or Jack the Ripper was on the loose. And this was written out by Paul Avery. And the final murder was the murder of Jackie Truss, who was committed. The murder was committed by rope, by knife, by gun, and by fire. So it seemed like the um, killer was trying to very, very much do something that was torturous. So then the Zodiac killer thought, all right, I'm going to mail in the Halloween card because I don't want any serial killers to steal my thunder. Hey, Melissa, how are you
Hey,
doing?
Melissa.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Long time
very
no see,
well.
Melissa.
I know. Yep. I caught you guys. It's been really busy with work lately, so I've been on and off, trying to catch where I can. But yeah.
Yeah, but like I told you, if you can spend 10 minutes or
Well, yeah, this is a big day for the case. There's a lot to talk
absolutely.
about. Yeah, so don't mind me. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
It's been a while since we've had a chance to talk. I don't know if you might want to discuss this on the air, but are you still working on your Zodiac Killer book?
I am. Yes, I
am. Any updates you would like to share?
You know what? It's crazy because the minute I sit down and I write more, I find out more. I think we're just really more in the fact-finding stage and, looking at the case. Is there anything that we can really focus in on and really draw out to share with readers to really unpack it? Because, there's so much in my head, but it's like, how do you get that on the page and convey that to everyone else who can connect the dots on their own? So like, for example, we just discovered there was this guy named by the name of Rick Bain on our Zodiac Killer and Me Facebook page. And he put together the association between the Most Dangerous Game movie. And he's like, Melissa, did you know that like one of the beginning scenes is an actual ship being blown up, men being blown overboard and eaten by sharks? So like the ship is on the way, it's in the ocean, it's in the Pacific on the way to the Hawaiian island. And this huge explosion happens. Well, one of the, two of the survivors end up making their way to the island. And then they're all of a sudden on Count's, I don't know. On his compound in his island and becomes.
Was that the 1932 version?
Huh?
Was that the 1932 version?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I saw that, but it's been about 6 years. So like, no, I didn't recall any of those things. If
I was going to write a chapter in my book about this, I would say, well, how plausible would it be for the Zodiac Killer to reenact the most dangerous game portion of hunting human beings like wild game? And then what would the likelihood be then to overlook this blowing up of the ship, which is part of my theory that my suspect potentially could have. Now, if he didn't blow up the ship, then my secondary theory would be that he is drawing a conclusion to who he is as an identification marker, that this is me, being on the USS Enterprise at the time during Vietnam, and especially when it blew up on the 14th, 8 days after it left the port at Alameda. But yeah, it's just bizarre to me. And what's the likelihood that the one person would possess all of these characteristics necessary for a suspect in the Zodiac case with all the details?
Especially the alibis on the timelines and
right.
As you even said, all of the things that would indicate that the Zodiac was ex-military or in the naval background and incorporating that into the creation of things. And do you have anything for the people in the chat about the Halloween card in case someone's not familiar with your website or anything?
Yeah. Are there people in the chat right now?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We got those on. We got Death Stereo, Dark Side, Jazz Naz, Charlie is here, Cat Daddy Steve. By the way, Cat Daddy Steve, Dr. Dre, I'll put my hat against your White Sox hat. Dr. Dre loves White Sox hats, just not these because this is all beaten up.
Oh my gosh, hold on. Let me grab my White Sox hat.
Okay. Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, you are not the only one.
Oh, yes. Well, you got to stand by your team even when they suck.
White Sox.
Yeah. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So I'm from Chicago.
For Halloween,
yeah, I'm broadcasting right now from Oak Park, Illinois, which is, you see the train? I don't know if you see the train out my window.
No, I can't. It's all glare.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, barely. Right there. That train goes right about 10 to 15-minute ride to downtown Chicago.
Word up, yeah. No, just the White Sox had the worst season imaginable. I mean, literally. And 101 years or whatever it was. No, 121 years, I think they said. And
they were exactly.
Oh, well, live another day and so on. And
I don't know why it looks crooked.
Yeah, mine does too. That's why I kept doing this.
I swear to you, it's straight.
I know. Because I know how the hat is supposed to feel, but I'm like,
yeah. Well, growing up in Chicago, you have to be careful what side you tip your hat to, depending on what game. Yeah, so you have to be very careful.
Why is that?
Yeah, like one gang, cocks their hat to the right, another one cocks their hat to the left, and it depends on what flags you fly. And I mean, this is all going back 25 years ago, but yeah, when I was
In the
growing
days
up,
of gangster rap.
yeah, we had to be careful like what colors we wore. Yeah.
All
It's
right.
just a
I was
game.
trying to watch baseball, you know what I mean? But like, I guess gonna go get into a shootout or something. I'm definitely not gonna be ready for that. But
Yeah.
oh,
So
and
anyway,
Chris
what
is
was the
here. Hello,
question?
Chris. How's
Okay,
it going?
let me look at the chat. I think I joined.
Oh yeah. Do you see the comments tab that's over on the top right? Like you should see private chat and then comments, and then
I
you can
do.
see everybody.
Yep, I see the comments. And then it says connect to YouTube.
Melissa,
Yeah, I don't do that. Like I don't post in the chat, but
Oh, okay, got it. Oh wait, so I can read the
I
chat,
just
and if I want to post, I go on YouTube. I'm getting
right.
it.
Like I mean, I just kind of like talk to people though on the
Yeah.
stream, but
Okay, let's see.
Melissa, I would like just to ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you will you release your book in a paper version, or
A
in a
paper
Kindle
version?
version?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I like hard copy books.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I
I
love books.
probably, it all depends, it's like I'm a one day at a time person. So,
Yeah, like me.
like you, one day at a time. I mean, if there's an opportunity to print it, I'll do it. But if not, then right, the digital copy on Amazon is fine with me too.
I reserved the first one.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it. I'll sign it.
I
and
want the
say-
first one.
But also, Melissa, I mean, I don't mean to pry too much, but like, do you have any other things you'd like to share? Because you actually had the chance to meet with the FBI and discuss your suspect, LD Hill. And is there anything you would like to share live on the air?
Yeah, so I met with, let's see, this is going, okay, let me go back and just share some history about like when this first fell in my lap. Because obviously I live a very busy life. I'm, a single mother living outside of Milwaukee. My family's still, about an hour and a half away from Chicago. So I still have lots of connections. And I've recently relocated back to the city. But this really fell in my lap from Jeff. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Thornton. He really dropped this in my lap at the end of 2021. So it has not been that long. It's only been about 2.5 years since we started looking into this. And all he simply said was he gave me a tip about a family member who suggested this. And I was like, this is weird because I've known the family for 25 years and I never knew that, this particular family member lived in the Alameda in the Bay Area ever. I knew she lived in Indiana. I knew she grew up in Ohio. That was all I knew. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go on Ancestry.com and see if I can find some information and validate what she says. And if this is true, because I thought she was crazy. I'm like, this woman's nuts. And so I go and I literally find her high school yearbook picture. And it's in Alameda and it's in 1969. And I'm like, okay, well, she's not lying, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and I'll keep searching. So then I went and I built a family tree on Ancestry, found out who her father was, found out, how many brothers and sisters he had, who his parents were. And then I'm trying to piece together like all of his kids, so all the other siblings. And then I also found a record of his naval enlistment. And that was huge for me because I was like, well, that's 1969 to 1974. Is what it said. It said August 5th, 1969 through like August 8th, 1964 or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, that's exactly really when the Zodiac activity was occurring. All right, I'll keep going. And literally it was just like I was following where the information was leading me. So then I said to Jeff, do you have pictures of this your grandfather? Okay. And he's not Jay Floyd, just to clarify that. So he produced 4 pictures, one of which had a writing sample on it, a very small writing sample. And it had me written in the left-hand corner with a really like thick underline under it. And then it had boot camp at the bottom in cursive. And I thought in the picture was, just him going like this. He was in boot camp with his little naval wipes on and he looked very young. So I was like, this is interesting. Then he had 3 other pictures, one in his bomber jacket, and with the thick, black rimmed glasses on. And that was like, okay, that definitely fits the description. So then I refamiliarized myself with the Zodiac case. I went to the bookstore. I bought Graysmith's book. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? And then I watched the movie, and I was like, okay, well, and what struck me were the Ring Walkers, the Z13. And I'm like, well, let's just see. I'm like, Ring Walkers. Let me see if I could find his gravestone. And I found his gravestone, and it said AMS-2 on it. So I Googled what AMS-2 was in the Navy, and that's Aviation Structural Mechanic Petty Class Officer 2. So I was like, okay, well, he would have worn the boots. What else can I figure out? And I just started going from there. And so then I had to put this case on hold, though, for like 8 months because my mom got critically ill and was hospitalized. And fighting for her life for like 8 months. So I had to cut everybody off and put the case down. But back to your question about the FBI, I did give Jeff, I think, an hour of my time in August of 2022. So he and I went to the Milwaukee field office because Chicago wasn't taking walk-ins, San Francisco wasn't taking walk-ins, but Milwaukee for some reason was. So we went in there and I met with the FBI, gave them just kind of like the cliff notes of what I had discovered at that time. Really, his occupation was a huge thing for me. The occupation and he wasn't just in the Navy for a few years. I mean, this is a career naval, 20 years in the Navy. And he only advanced from Petty Class Officer 3 to Petty Class Officer 2, which I find interesting because I'll read a lot of what, you all think like, oh, this is somebody that's kind of unaccomplished, but yet very intelligent. And yeah, he definitely exudes that in his records. So yeah, meanwhile, I submitted a FOIA to the National Archives for his military records because I thought there's no reason to go public with any of this until I can verify what my theories are. I narrowed him down to the USS Enterprise by going on newspapers.com, finding out that his mother had her own column. She was a columnist in the local newspaper. So she would write when he would be in town with the family, when he wouldn't, where he was stationed. And I mean, now we're talking dozens of articles. So I was searching his name all over newspapers.com, shared that with the FBI, and put my timeline together, Ned, that you're familiar with. And then I met with Chicago's FBI as a walk-in finally earlier. When did I do that? Late last year. And then in August, we flew out to San Francisco. I met with the San Francisco office and spent a good hour and a half with them. Explaining.
Yes. That's kind of like the last thing that I had heard from you. And did you get any feedback from the San Francisco office?
Yeah, I mean, every time you walk in, they want to know, do you have any new information to share? Like, yeah, we have on file what your thoughts. Is there anything new? And we had the opportunity to bring the witness that Jeff, we brought her with us. So she was able to speak directly with the FBI. And she told a very chilling story because this is her father that she grew up with, right? So what she had said was she had ran away one day and he tracked her down and he grabbed her like really close by the face. And he was like, if you ever do that again, I will kill you like the rest of them. And he said, and I've killed a lot of people. But I think and she was very abusive to her. Yeah. But I think at the time, I think she was thinking, okay, well, he was in Vietnam. Maybe he killed a lot of people in Vietnam. But It wasn't until later in life. I mean, we're talking 50 years. Well, I would say 30 years later, she started to piece things together. So the FBI was interested and encouraged us to continue submitting our tips. But so far, we haven't heard anything since August.
Okay, yes, about like checking DNA, fingerprints. I mean, because you would expect that everything he has would be on record, especially things like fingerprints, possibly palm prints. But he's going to be fingerprinted when he's moving up in the ranks in the Navy, right? Doesn't he go through that process?
I mean, I would think so. I didn't see that in his records, and honestly, I don't know how complete his records really are. But I mean, if they want fingerprints, we've got his typewriter, we've got his cruise book, we've got he was, when he retired from the Navy, he became a security guard at Honda in Ohio. So we have the security hat, probably with hair fibers in it. So we've got, plus the familia, like the family DNA, we've got that to submit. So, I mean, if they, that's going to be our next step, I think, is to go on and GEDmatch and upload it. And I mean, if this doesn't lead anywhere, fine. If it rules him out, great. At least I feel like I've done my part. Because I've had people say, Melissa, don't you want to just bury this in your backyard? Like, why are you even bringing this up? It's like, well, because there is ample evidence to support the possibility of him being a suspect. That's the only reason I'm doing this.
All right. Well, I mean, please keep us posted, and we would like to know, and you know where to find us.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other questions.
And who is your suspect?
What was the question, Joe?
Who is your suspect?
Oh, who is my suspect? Loring Dale Hill, or Loring D. Hill. They also call him LD.
Already heard. Yeah.
Yeah, they call him LD in the Navy.
Loring D. Hill.
Loring, like Loring.
Loring.
It's a very weird name. I had never heard of this name before this person. I never heard of it, but it is out there. It is an actual name.
I don't know if I've met anyone named Loring. Like you have, I think Jeff once said that he went by the name Lauren sometimes. Yes, I've met men named Lauren before, and especially seen them on TV. But like Loring, I don't know if I've ever met a guy who had that exact name. Maybe a last name, but not a first name.
Right. No, and I mean, I used to do background checks for a living, pre-employment screening background checks. So I've ran across thousands of names. I've never come across that name.
And we have a question here for you.
Yeah.
Melissa, but I can read it because I have my camera just in front of it. So Ned, could you read it?
Would you want to get verification before you continue with your book?
Yeah. That would be my goal, because the last thing I want to do is be known as like a Graysmith or any of the other ones. But then again, I don't know what your thoughts are, Ned. I don't know.
Absolutely, you can continue with it, because if Graysmith can do that and write a book, about Arthur Lee Allen being the Zodiac, and I mean, not knowing that 100%, if it's acceptable for him, then it should be for other people. And Graysmith did not name Lee Allen by name when he was alive. He called him Robert Hull Starr, right? Gareth Penn didn't do that. He just wrote a book in 1987 talking about a living person named Michael O'Hare who's still alive. Now, that was a little bit unethical on Gareth Penn's part, but your suspect has been deceased for a number of years, right? Did he pass away in the 90s? Was it 96?
Yep, 96. Yeah.
Yeah, so and also, you have a family member involved now, multiple family members. And, we could just keep going on and on. I probably have a lot of questions for you. You'll have to come back on Black Box Online Radio sometime, and we can do another Zodiac Monday. But did people want to do some horror movie stuff, or did they want to keep talking about the Halloween card?
I don't know. There is Ross. Hi!
Oh, Ross, Pinhead. How's it going?
Guys, chilling.
Happy Halloween, Ross.
Happy Halloween.
Gonna go grab my my refreshment.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't know. We can continue talking about the Zodiac. We can talk about horror movie. Yeah, let's say we are going to talk 2 minutes about horror movie. I will start with the lady first. It's normal. Melissa, what's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, man.
Is it The Exorcist?
No, but I think the Amityville horror movies freak me out.
Let's say your top 5.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably my one. And when I was in Long Island, last year, I have a client that's maybe 5 miles from Amityville. So I was like, I've got to find this house. And I did. I found it, took a picture of it. I was like, it's right in the harbor. And it looks like your typical quaint, semi-suburban house on a harbor. It's really crazy.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there as well.
Amityville Horror 2 is also really good. I mean, of course, it's not as good as the first, but surprisingly good for a sequel, and that actually features Paulie from the Rocky movies, and he plays
Yeah.
like the father in that one.
The movie was focusing on the real case of Ronald DeFeo. So is anybody familiar with this case?
No,
No, no.
Not too
Well,
familiar. I know, like, the basics. Apparently, there hasn't been any activity for years, but that's what it says on the internet. As opposed to recent day at the house.
well, the story we are talking about here, it's the DeFeo family who's been killed by Ronnie DeFeo, the sons,
Mhm.
allegedly. Well, it's not sure. It's maybe a mob stuff. We don't know. Maybe it was him. Maybe it was him with his sister, Dawn. There is a lot of different story, lot of different theory about what did happen that night because timeline don't fit really well. And times after that, this tragedy, uh, Ronald DeFeo had been caught for sure for that. He was the only one. And after that, you have the family. Oh, I don't remember the name. The family you see in the movie. What is the name of the family in the movie? Ale, come on. Um,
You talk about the remake with Matthew McConaughey.
no. The first movie.
Oh.
The name of the people who came to live in the.
I don't know, but that like Descent into Madness stuff in the Amityville, the original, that was pretty good. I remember watching that on the TV as a kid, and I was like, "What is
Yeah,
this?"
the first one.
I was just like, I was so confused because I jumped in halfway in the middle. Then when I saw it later on as an adult, I was like, "Oh, I get it now. That's badass. I love horror."
Yeah, the remake's not bad. I don't really think it's mob stuff though, Jerome. I mean, it could be, but it doesn't really strike me as mob activity.
No, but I tell there is different theory, different story. So it's something we will
Yeah.
never really know because Ronald DeFeo is passed away. So
Right.
and come on, I can't remember the name of the family. The Lutz family, yeah, the Lutz
There you
family.
go.
Oh, my memory is so bad. So we have the Lutz family who comes to live in this new house. They only paid $20,000 to enter in the house. It was previewed that they have to pay $18,000 for the house, which was not really expensive. But there is a deal with them and with the lawyer of Ronald DeFeo to, let's say, write something about the houses and the stuff could happen in the movie. So after 28 days, they left the house saying there were a lot of strange activity in the house, and this is where the story and the movie comes from, the Lutz family. But it's at least if you think that spirit and ghost exist, yeah, it could be right, but it's all BS. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's say talking about your top 5 favorite horror movies. Let's start with Melissa.
Melissa, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
What else? I mean, she just did Amityville. What else you got, Melissa?
She has to unmute first before she can. She's still got the mute icon on.
Did you mute her, Jerome?
No, you are mute.
Melissa, you don't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it?
Once again, don't worry. Let's go with you, Ned. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
apologize. Sorry, I lost my window because I'm triple tasking. I was like,
It
oh,
happens.
Well, we got
Don't
Melissa back.
worry.
Melissa, you want to keep going?
Okay, wait.
Don't
So
worry.
Amityville Horror. I think The Irishman. You were talking about the mob connection. That freaked me out too. To me, that's a
I
horror
never
movie.
saw that one.
Oh
You're talking about the Scorsese one that came out on Netflix?
no, The Irishman with what the heck's his name? Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
Robert De Niro.
that's the
right?
Scorsese one.
That's the Scorsese one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on Netflix. You're right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big horror junkie.
Okay, now we're just being racist against Italian people. Do we have any that aren't mafia movies?
Let's see. No, I really don't, Ross. I mean, so got the screen now. That was a surprise.
So we move on. Yeah, Ross.
Next,
Ross,
yeah,
go ahead.
Roscoe. I'm gonna review.
Top 5?
Yeah. And why?
Hellraiser 1 and 2. I think Pinhead is like, I like sci-fi horror, you know what I mean? So I like the original Alien from Ridley Scott is like an isolation horror. Even The Thing by John Carpenter, The Thing is like a sci-fi isolation horror. But I don't know. Pure horror movies, I don't really do that many besides like Hellraiser, which is still kind of sci-fi horror. Maybe Pumpkinhead, the original, pretty sick. I mean, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, I like them both, but I couldn't tell you exactly one. Maybe just Halloween original by John Carpenter. But if I had a bonus round, They Live, still kind of sci-fi horror, but They Live's a classic.
Yeah, for sure. And your favorite director?
Any of what?
Your favorite director?
Well, as far as horror, or
Yeah.
probably Carpenter, because that's mostly what I named right there. I guess Clive Barker is the Hellraiser director, the original. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know horror directors like that. Maybe outside of those two, you know.
Toby Hooper, Wes Craven.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, Hooper up
I
there
was gonna say
definitely.
Wes Craven's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw original for sure. Rob Zombie, I put up
Rob
Rob
Zombie.
Zombie 31 Halloween remakes and
Yeah, John Carpenter for sure. Yeah.
House of a Thousand Corpses, the Devil's Rejects trilogy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's so good. I really love Rob Zombie movie, The House of the 10,000 Corpse. The first one, the second one, The Devil's Reject, and the third one is
Three from Hell.
Yeah, Three from Hell.
That one is
Never saw
not
that
that
one.
good. It's pretty
Never
mid.
saw it.
And you
That was
also
good.
have 31, the movie
Yeah.
31. You have also the movie The Lords of Salem.
Yep.
And
I crowdfunded 31, Jerome.
31, I think it was a great movie.
Yeah, my name's in the credits.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happened. Why are you
What do you
credited
got?
in the movie?
Yeah, just in the thanks, just in the special thanks. What do you got, Ned?
First, I would like to give a big shout out to Fire Pixie here for sharing our channel links in the live chat for Black Box Online Radio and for Planet X Filmworks. Horny the Goat says, I hope you have the fan on, Ned. Yes, I do. You guys know it's right here. And as far as horror movies go, if we're going to talk about number one, I think there's a special place that everybody has for John Carpenter's Halloween 1978, just because of how epic it was. And, you know, in terms of the Halloween sequels, I absolutely love Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, because it's a sequel, but it's an excellent piece of horror cinema. Now, Ross brought up Hellraiser. I am so glad I watched Hellraiser as an adult and not a kid. If I saw Hellraiser as a kid, I would probably have had nightmares until today. They're called the Cenobites, right? That stuff would have freaked me out. Yeah. That's amazing horror, though. And there really is something that we need to say for Toby Hooper and Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2. It was on Halloween night a couple years ago when I was watching Texas Chainsaw 2. And that is also an excellent horror sequel. And we've got Vincent. Hey, how's it going?
Good, everybody.
What up?
Hi, Vincent. Happy
Hello.
Halloween.
Oh, peekaboo, you are doomed.
Yeah.
I've heard that for years. Nothing happened.
They are. We are doomed. So,
Yeah,
Vincent,
Follow up on
Wait,
those
let me
threats
get
that
my
you
hat.
sent back.
It doesn't count unless I have my hat. What am I thinking? Oh my gosh.
Did you notice the influence of Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw 2, Ned, on Otis from House of Thousand Corpses? It's obviously the same actor.
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly.
yeah,
but
there is
now
a
that you
lot of
say that, I
them.
mentioned that because Chop Top has that very epic scene where then they reveal the metallic part of his skull. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I get.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's,
I know you guys will hate me for this, but I liked House of a Thousand Corpses so much. I did not like the Devil's Rejects at all, and which is so weird because I loved Rob Zombie's music, even
Yeah.
as a music video director, and I mean, Ross, you said you saw like Halloween 1 and 2 from Rob Zombie, right? And
Yeah.
I like them. I think they're very different. They're not like the
Yeah.
type of Halloween movie that I would have imagined, but when kind of a spoiler, when one of the characters dies in Halloween 2, that was the most emotional death that I felt in any of the Halloween movies. They really made an effort to do that. But everybody hated the Rob Zombie Halloween movies except like 5 people, and I guess I was one of them.
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, I don't know why they got roasted so badly. I mean, I know that him and Zombie and Carpenter have some rift.
Well, it's
about
not
it.
on the same level. I'll give them that. Like, it's not as good as the original, but you know, it's that's like normal as water these days.
When I originally watched Devil's Rejects, I thought the same thing as you because I was expecting more of that like Texas Chainsaw influence that House of Thousand Corpses has, like the more Technicolor kind of, you know, all the colors and color grading that everything House of Thousand Corpses has. Pardon this truck outside my window. And what changed it for me is understanding that like Devil's Rejects is a Western. It has a totally different color grading and much more dustier, you know what I mean? So like that's, once I viewed it through the genre and lens of a Western, it totally changed my interpretation of it. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're just expecting a House of Thousand Corpses horror sequel, it's kind of like the same characters in a different genre, if that makes sense.
Sure, but Sid Haig was so badass in House of a Thousand Corpses. Like, I mean, that just kind of stayed with me for years, you know, just kind of like getting lost in my imagination. He would make me laugh the way that horror characters make you laugh. This is what teenagers understand so well. When people get murdered in horror movies, it's funny. As an adult, you're like, oh no. When you're a teenager, you're just laughing the whole time. Michael Myers is killing people. The man has a butcher knife. You have a gun and you're still dead? What?
Yeah, how's that work? No.
You cannot kill the boogeyman.
But
wait, Jerome, don't. We can't make any predictions like that. I mean, I don't know who was directing those crappy ass Halloween movies in the most recent trilogy, but
I didn't watch any of them. I'm gonna keep
Halloween from 2018 was not so bad. Halloween Kills was like so bad I almost walked out of the theater, but I didn't. I stayed.
I heard
And
Halloween Ends
Ends
was just unholy dog shit. I
Yeah,
know what happens. I won't watch it.
Unholy dog shit. That's right.
I won't watch it.
No,
but
the
Spalding was
trilogy-
badass at Devil's Rejects too. Let's not forget he was sick in both of them. Rest in peace, Sid Haig.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see Devil's Rejects too. Yes, he passed away.
Rest
What
in
about
peace, my
was it
friend.
5 years ago or something, or maybe a little less?
Yeah, right after Three from Hell.
Yeah,
He did that one scene.
he was so good actor. He was so good.
Your mic's a little low, Vince. I can't really hear you.
I like scary movies where you can't see the bad guy. It's just an invisible, sinister force.
Yeah.
I like the Invisible Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was intense. I forgot about that.
Or like
Oh,
Poltergeist.
The one from the 1930s.
Poltergeist is
No,
sick.
not that one. That's a movie.
Oh
There
yeah,
is
they made it in
Poltergeist
the
from the
1930s. That is amazing because like it's done kind of just in this old rickety, you know, special effects from the 1930s, but it's actually well done, and you know it's very, very highly rated, highly acclaimed. But which one were you talking about?
That new one. I didn't know they had an old one. We got to have a watch party on BBOR with the old one.
Anytime, Vince, we'll throw something together.
So
I'll bring
for
back
me,
Anything Goes Friday.
What do you got, Trump?
yeah, it's really, really, really difficult because I'm a big horror fan movie. I am since I was 5. When I was 5, I've seen The Exorcist, and I'm 45, so 30 years ago, and there was no real problem with that, with seeing a horror movie from my parents. So they let me watching everything I want. We have a video club. We don't still exist today, but a video club near the house, and every weekend I was to the video club to have some new movie like Bad Taste from Mr. The Ring of what is his name? The Lord of the Ring, the director of the Lord of
Peter
Ring.
Jackson.
Tolkien.
Peter
Oh
Jackson.
yeah, Bad Taste is fire,
Bad
bro.
Taste,
Yeah, good call, bro. That's a big grind. That's kind of like similar to They Live, I would say, in some ways.
I was watching the movie like the Amityville Horror, The Silence of the Lamb.
I like that Hannibal sequel too.
Halloween for sure.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Demons.
Demons. I was going to mention Demons. Demons is epic. Although I just watched Demons 2 and it sucked, but Demons 1 was freaking crazy.
Demon Ones is
Crazy. I watched 3 too.
crazy. So for me, it's really, really difficult. So I had to thinking about that for the entire day, I think, to try to make a list will fit and why. So I will say that my first horror movie, the first one will be Stanley Kubrick, The Shining.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I was going to have, I glossed over that. Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick
Yeah.
was brilliant.
Love
Yeah.
The Shining.
The Shining is a masterpiece.
Here's real quick Shining trivia, Jerome. Have you seen Blade Runner, the original?
Yeah.
Okay, you know that alternate ending when Deckard and Rachel escape through the forest at the end, and it plays. So those aerial views of the forest, that's footage from The Shining that Ridley
Yeah.
Scott got from Kubrick. So there's some leftover Shining footage in Blade Runner, which I always thought was insane because the movies have
Cool.
nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Fun trivia fact. PXF trivia.
Yeah, you have a lot of kind of stuff like this, like in the bonus when you buy a DVD or Blu-ray
Yeah.
that you learn,
Exactly.
and sometimes it's completely crazy. Yeah, for Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, it was the case that
Yeah.
they had access to Stanley Kubrick, so it was crazy. Yeah, I would say my first one is The Shining because Jack Nicholson is freaking good.
Genius film.
Oh my god! And
We'll have to talk about what happened to him at the end when you're done your top 5.
Yeah.
The picture on the wall.
and there is different level of reading for this movie. You can see that as a horror movie with ghosts. We can see that in a psychological movie with other stuff.
Yeah.
And you can see it like I see it. For me, my theory about The Shining, it's that all the weird thing we see in The Shining, in the movie, is the story that Jack is writing.
Nice. I
Every-
like that. I like that take.
And
Um,
there is some proof about that, but
telepathy. The Shining is the telepathy ability.
yeah,
of them
you have
speaking in their
also the
minds.
telepathy, you have a lot of different stuff. So I would say, yeah, my first one, The Shining.
Stephen King's the man. Even though
Yeah,
the movie, he doesn't like
he
it.
didn't like the movie because Stanley Kubrick had made his own Shining, who had nothing
that
to do
happens.
with the books.
There's a lot of directors who are like that, you know. I mean, a lot of authors who don't like the movie versions. Excuse me.
So
Well, a
I'm
big
gonna-
difference between Stephen King in the novels compared to the movies is he really ups the game with like supernatural elements and some things that seem a little bit difficult to film and so on. Like with Cujo, for example, so much of it is about spiritual possession. But then when you get to the movie Cujo, it's about a dog with rabies. And I think that was done a little bit for simplicity. But one thing that I loved about that movie is that it's so realistic. Like it's like it could really happen to you. With The Shining, of course, we're dealing with some stuff that might not happen to you as well. But I'm just on the side of Stanley Kubrick all the time. There are very few things he could do that would make me dislike him. I think he knew what he was doing with movies. He had visions, and he was very artistic, creative, thoughtful, detail oriented. All the things that I am not, because I mean, some people just have that type of patience for this, and they're like, no, we're going to film this 52 times until we get it right. And he was good at it.
Think about the movie Misery. It's Misery. It's freaking. It's
That's
really
another good one. I'd put that in my top 5 too. Yeah, that's a good one, Jerome. So you and I are we're the same age, so we probably have some of the same genres in our heads, especially from like being really little. Who was it mentioned Chucky? Rob mentioned.
Yeah, they just mentioned Child's Play. I was going to say, if we name franchises like Leprechaun, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, Pumpkinhead.
We were all big when we were little. Yeah.
But I haven't seen Misery, if that's Kubrick. My favorite Kubrick is Clockwork Orange, without a doubt.
You gotta see.
Oh, I love that one, yes. But I also really liked Eyes Wide Shut. I wouldn't put it as my favorite. I think that's the one I was talking about with the 52 times. Like, there's the famous thing in Eyes Wide Shut that Stanley Kubrick made Tom Cruise walk through a doorway 52 times until he got it right. And I think I know what he's talking about, because there's this one scene where Tom Cruise walks through a doorway, and it's like, whoa, that's what you call walking through a doorway, because like he's really just trying to capture these types of emotions. And some people call Eyes Wide Shut a horror movie. I don't even know if I would. It's more of a drama, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But Clockwork that's just like brilliant. I mean, it's so thoughtful and creative, and
the book is insane too. Eyes Wide Shut, I just don't like it because I heard when Kubrick submitted that initial cut that like he really had some really like cultic, debauchery, like hardcore stuff in there, and then obviously he passed away. So the rumor was the studio just cut it down, like censored it a lot, edited it a lot. So I thought that final cut we got was like, I think Kubrick would have did a lot more with it. But again, difficult to say having him passed and not knowing what he submitted, So
exposing the secrets of the elites, perhaps.
Exactly. That was my guess. What else you got? I think you're only one in, Jerome. What else you got? I know you're having trouble.
So my first one, Shining. By the way, Melissa, I was thinking you were younger than me. You look like younger than me. You don't look like 45.
Shining is genius.
I can hear you.
Sorry, 45 and a half.
Oh, yeah, but like me. I'm from Maine.
Don't listen to him, Melissa. He's the coach. He's the coach.
Oh, I got you. I got you by at least one day.
There you go.
One day older than May.
I'm in the summer solstice.
Are you?
Yeah,
I'm a Taurus. So wait, Jerome. So are you a Taurus?
No, Gemini.
Okay. Then I'm
like
May
I'm a
27.
Taurus.
I'm one day off from Gemini. Technically, half Gemini, half Cancer hybrid.
Yeah, and people think that Gemini have two different sides, but not me. I have just one side.
Three.
Stay true. It's here. Look. Stay
true. Wow, would you look at that? You can no arguing with that, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't argue with
That's
that. Stay true. Oh, I punch your face. So, my second one.
Yeah, what else you got, Jerome?
A lot. In my mind, there is.
But saying them is different, right? Yeah, it's hard to get them all out of there.
It is.
What about Friday the 13th?
It's one of them, but not in my top 5. Yeah.
Hard to say what
Part 3, Part 5, all of that stuff's awesome. Jason Takes Manhattan Part 8 is it's not awesome, but you can watch it over and over again and not get bored. So I guess it's entertaining in that regards. Part 9 was one of the worst horror movies ever made. Like like Igual que Mierda, that kind of stuff. But as far as Jason X, the 10th one where they're in space, you got to give credit for where credit is due. That's different. I mean,
it was different, but the problem is when a horror franchise gets to space, and it happens more often than you think, it's usually Leprechaun 4 is Leprechaun in space, followed by Leprechaun in the Hood, and Leprechaun 6 back to the Hood. So he goes to the Hood actually twice. So again, usually by the time you get to space in a horror franchise, it's not where you want to be at.
You know, it's interesting, Ross. I only saw the first 3 Leprechaun movies, and I loved those. I was trying to watch all of them one
Amazing.
March, building up to St. Patrick's Day, like one a day. For some reason, I got off the loop, but the first 3, especially the first one, I was like, this is amazing. And credit to Warwick Davis. He must have had to sit in the makeup chair for like 6 hours to do that movie or something.
Dude's
You know,
a
and-
beast. Dude's a beast.
I mean-
Love Warwick Davis. I mean, honestly, Leprechaun 4 in space is not bad either. It's absolutely hilarious. Like much like you were saying about Jason X, you know, it's watchable. Jason Goes to Hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell was just poorly done, I thought. It's the same with Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Absolutely abysmal. That is also one of the worst horror movies ever made. Changing the production studios, just destroying the storyline, which is also kind of what they did in Jason Goes to Hell. But Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers is at the absolute bottom of the barrel for me. And,
Freddy vs. Jason is one of the most pieces of shit ever made in horror history, Jerome. It
I
is
do agree.
I saw it at the theater with all my boys. We're like, yo, you see that Freddy vs. Jason trailer? Oh, it's going to be sick, bro. It's one of those movies where you get there, you're like,
No.
what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? It was bad, bro.
Well, Ross, I actually fell asleep during it, so I can't comment on that one. I don't remember too much of it.
I fell asleep during Kill Bill 2.
Oh, well, that's different. But I do remember from Freddy versus Jason, though, it did feature the actress Katie Isabel, who plays one of the characters in Ginger Snaps. She's one of the Ginger Snap girls, and I love the 3 Ginger Snap movies. I rented them from Blockbuster back in like 06, and I mean, I don't know if they're like life-changing horror movies. They're stuff that teenagers would like, but I don't know if I would enjoy them now.
For number 2, I would say Chainsaw Massacre.
1,
Uh,
original.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leatherface is epic. I think the 2
Yeah.
best icons are Pinhead and Leatherface, you know?
Yeah.
Jason and Freddy
Oh.
are kind of overdone, you know?
For me, it's Michael Myers, and
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah,
I was
too.
actually I was thinking about this earlier today. I was really tempted to put Ghostface up there, but then I had to think,
Yeah.
firstly, Ghostface is so abstract because it's like a constantly evolving horror character. But the biggest reason why I love Ghostface from the Scream movies is if we didn't have Ghostface in Scream, we wouldn't have Scary Movie and all those wonderful Scary movies. God bless Anna Faris and everything she did to make the world a better place.
I heard
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
making 6.
It was
I heard
a
they're making
revolution
back
at the
to make 6.
time. Yeah, it was
Oh, was
a
that wrong?
revolution. Scream.
Real quick, Jerome, I heard the Wayans brothers are going to make one more.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. I didn't know if it was true or not. There's a lot of fake news that goes around on Facebook. Is that real, Ross?
I saw a blurb on Instagram. It looked real, but again, like you said, it's the internet. It's not 100% confirmed, but nice call. I love Texas Chainsaw, Jerome. Of course, Hooper. 1 and 2 are both sick, like Ned was saying. I love Dennis Hopper in the second,
Yeah. He's really excellent. Yeah.
and Chop Top. Texas
Yeah.
Chainsaw is crazy. Go wake up, Grandpa.
Give me your blood. I'm
Was that-
hungry.
Kane Hodder, who played Leatherface in the first one? Can't remember now.
Oh no, it's not Kane Hodder, right? There's a different actor. Because I was just watching him in an Ed Gein documentary when he talked about getting ready for the role,
Yeah.
about taking inspirations. I don't recall his name. I always just think of him as Leatherface. And both Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2 have like pretty amazing
Gunnar
endings.
Hansen.
Yeah,
Gunnar
that's
Hansen
right.
plays
That's
in the
right.
first one, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw has one of the most horrific endings of all time. All of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw 2, you get to see the hero getting a little bit more pulled into the world of madness. And
Yep.
Yeah.
when I saw that one, I had just watched the movie Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. That talks about how horror movies are made.
Mhm.
So I'm watching Texas Chainsaw 2, and I caught all of the sexual metaphors that I probably would have missed. And did you guys ever see Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon?
I don't
Nope.
think so.
Ridiculous horror movie, but they talk about like how horror movies are made, and it's all incorporated into the storyline. You aren't missing too much.
So my number 3 will be Psycho. Alfred
Yes. Oh my
Hitchcock.
gosh, why didn't I say that? Perfect.
Hitchcock original.
Yeah.
No, Vince Vaughn.
Remake. Dog Soldiers is fire. Yes, Rich. Yes, me and my
Hey,
boy.
Richard, how's it going? Richard,
my-
happy Halloween. Cheers.
Happy Halloween.
Richie. My boy Gaz, who I do the Paradigm Review Show movie reviews from, is from up north like you, Rich, and he's like in the local area of Dog Soldiers. Actually, there's that new trailer out, Werewolves, which looks a lot like Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, but yeah, my number 3 is it's Psycho, because it was one of the first horror movie, one of the first that I saw, and yeah, and the big surprise, the lead character of which is played by Mrs. Lee, it's killed after 20 minutes, and it was so good to see the principal actor of the movie is been killed after 20 minutes of the movie, and after all of that you have Norman Bates, and you see this guy who's really nice, who's really looking nice, and he is nice. I mean, you will never think there is a problem with this guy, and when it changes with his mother closes to kill, and when it takes the voice of his mother to have himself a conversation with himself, and it's wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. So for now, Shining, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Psycho.
How did he make the blood in the shower in Psycho, Jerome?
But
Chocolate sauce.
Yeah, chocolate.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it didn't
Because
matter,
it's
right?
black and white, so
No
it looks
color.
like blood because it's black
Just
and
need
white.
Chocolate. Yeah,
I
chocolate in the
didn't
shower,
know.
bud. Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Oh.
Jerome, you brought up Psycho. Like, I really should have said that one first because I saw Psycho when I was like 16 or 17, and that was one of the first horror movies that truly scared me. Because I've always said that there are two types of horror films. There are the kinds that just make you jump because there's a loud noise. Whatever, that's not important. Alfred Hitchcock would get in your mind and make you scared about what's behind the door, like what's on the other side of this. Oh, I want to turn this thing off. Like, and that was the first time I really had that type of like horrific experience from a horror movie. And a full credit goes to Alfred Hitchcock. I also highly recommend his movie The Lodger from 1927, first movie based on Jack the Ripper.
Nice.
But
Whole movie of Alfred
Check it
Hitchcock.
out.
Have you guys heard of? Have you heard of the movie Rawhead Rex? It's a B-rated
No.
movie. Oh, it's like from
familiar.
1973. Look up Rawhead Rex. I mean, he's tearing bodies apart and hanging them from trees. Like he's this like kind of like a monster, almost like the Dog Man, or like some type of weird supernatural demon creature. But yeah, it's a B-rated movie. Like it's not the high production or anything.
No,
but
but it's good. Yeah.
scary.
No, I love B movies.
You need to send me a link for this movie.
I'll send you a
Yeah.
link. Another one is Maniac Cop. Do you guys? Have you heard of
I was going to bring up the New
Yeah.
York ones,
Maniac
Maniac and Maniac Cops. It has Bruce Campbell. I watched
Yeah.
it last October. Those movies are
So,
awesome.
Robert Zadar, who played Maniac Cop in all 5 or 8 of them or whatever, he's my uncle's. He was my uncle's best friend. He's since passed away, but I
Really?
knew him. Yeah, I knew him very well. Very well.
No,
You
Maniac
rock,
Cop's
Melissa. You rock.
I've heard about them remaking a new one, Melissa. It was like a rumor a couple years back, but there's supposed to be a new version eventually. I don't know.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool.
That movie's sick. Obviously, the Bruce Campbell cameo. It's crazy.
It looks like
So-
Richard Roundtree is in it too. Right on.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also Maniac too. The what's that guy's name? The New York actor, Frank Zito.
Mhm.
Yeah, Frank Zeta. Yeah.
Frank Zito. So what are you're at 3, Jerome, or was that?
Yeah. For my number 4 in other gender, because like you say that there is all kind of gender in our movie. You have gore movie. You have really when you see all the type of movie,
Slasher, zombie.
slasher, Yeah, like Nightmare
casual.
on Elm Street, M Street, the first one,
Monster movies.
because the other one was not so good and was not released, directed by Wes Craven. So no, but
Right.
the first one was really good. But in my top 5, I'm going to put on number 4 Evil Dead. It's scary and funny. That's
Which
why I
one?
put it. Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Oh yeah.
Evil
Okay,
Dead.
so
Yes,
we just
yes,
did
yes.
Army of Darkness on my
Yeah.
review show, Jerome.
Evil
Which is
Dead
the third
2.
one. But
Yeah.
yeah, Evil Dead was man. I love the originals. Those remakes,
Yeah,
they're kind of but the originals.
the originals kick ass. I mean, it's really. I don't know.
The
It's
originals kick
funny,
ass.
and in the same times you are afraid of what's going on, and in the same times it's not really well made, so it's funny in a way.
Slapstick.
Yeah. You can see
So
the glove of the
yeah.
person and his real skin behind the glove. So, yeah, I think number 4 it will be Evil Dead. Yeah.
You know, I
So
only saw Evil Dead 1 and Army of Darkness. Those are the only two that I saw. I kind of like didn't even watch them in order. I saw Army of Darkness first because people were recommending it. We watched it, with some guys once, but I was a little bit out of touch with the storylines, but I don't think I missed too much because I think you watch movies like that just for the experience of watching it as opposed to find out like the cliffhanger at the end the way you would with some other films.
well, you got to see Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn to just see what goes down at the cabin after the first one, and then at the end of Evil
Okay,
Dead
but-
2, when the book sucks him into that portal that brings him into medieval London, they actually recreate that like that. You've seen that scene in the beginning of Army of Darkness when he falls out of the sky with his car. They showed that in both movies. They showed it at the end of Evil Dead 2, and then they remade it at the end of Army of Darkness, which is basically what you were saying. Like they kind of summarized it for you. But Ned, me and my boy Vega, who runs the cryptonline.com, went to an Evil Dead 1 screening where Bruce Campbell came out and did Q&A after. And he basically said the way that movie got finished was his dad had some like farm property, ranch property up in northern Michigan, and his parents got divorced, and him and Sam Raimi were looking for a way to finish Evil Dead 1 because it was kind of like Bruce Campbell was working on set as like a PA, like while acting, and it was just like a very independent production. And they had like essentially run out of money. He went and asked his dad, like, "Hey, can we sell that property that you have up there?" And he said his dad was like, had just gotten divorced, and he was just staring off into the like distance. And he was like, "I don't care, do whatever you want." And then he just walked away. So Bruce Campbell took the land, sold it, and then that's like basically how they finished Evil Dead 1, which Stephen King rated highly. One of the reasons why it did so well was Stephen King's written review of it.
Wow.
A
Amazing.
lot of information for an independent production.
But Ross, I did have a question for you. Did you ever do the review of Man in the Attic on Planet X Filmworks?
Yeah, we did. I think it was the last one we did. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch that one because I was talking about that on my Wednesday show, Ripper Wednesday, on Black Box Online Radio, because I've discussed that one on Ripper Wednesday too last year, and I really would love to know what you guys think about everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's in the league of From Hell. I mean, it doesn't show you any of the canonicals. The victims' names are all changed, but you did see that line when they were in that museum with all the serial killers' faces plastered on the walls, and Warwick said to Slade, or whatever his name was, Slade or Slade, he was like, "Man's the most dangerous beast of all." So he almost said that Zodiac line verbatim, just changing game to beast. You know what I mean? Pretty.
That's in Man in the Attic?
Yeah, that's it, Man in the Attic.
Oh, yeah, didn't remember that exactly. But, I mean, it's based on Jack the Ripper, but also based on the Lodger. But I think they really wanted to change a lot of things for the movie and make it like its own standalone kind of story, even though it's kind of a story that's been retold many times. So I don't know if they really wanted to focus on the true crime stuff for that one, but I'd love to watch your review. I'll probably watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, neither of us thought it was that crazy. I'm more of a From Hell guy. I would still like to do From Hell. I was going to do a poll if the audience wanted us to do From Hell or not, because
but with Jack the Ripper films, you also have The Lodger. What's it called? A Study in Terror with Sherlock Holmes, and that's like Holmes and Watson going up against Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper from 1959, which is surprisingly good. I thought I would hate that one.
I
haven't seen The Whitechapel Vampire yet, but I'm going to watch that one as soon as I can.
Nice.
From Hell with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Never seen
They
it?
also they didn't show the Ghoul Street Graffito, Ned, in Man in the Attic.
I don't recall that. No.
There's quite a bit of things changed from the historical narrative, but they do a much better job with it. Yeah, I think you would like From Hell. I mean, Johnny Depp is like an absinthe addict in the movie, which makes it an interesting perspective.
Does he play Frederick George Aberline?
Yeah, I think so. Inspector Abeline, is that it?
Yeah.
That's four. That's four, Jerome. What's your fifth?
Yeah. So, wow. Do you see, Melissa? There is a lot of people in the chat with fancy with you.
I know. Well,
Fancy you.
Jeff can get away with it because he's my husband, so he's gonna
Okay.
say
Yeah,
that.
it's normal.
Who's got a pass?
Yeah,
He's
it's
got a
normal.
pass. But thank you for all the other comments. That's so sweet.
Don't be jealous, Jeffrey. There is no problem.
Yeah, her
We-
husband's in the chat, so just make note, guys.
Yeah.
Fire Pixie's just being nice.
Fire.
Yeah, Fire Pixie has helped us out on the
Oh
promo.
yeah. Oh yeah.
She's
So
sweet. Yeah.
my number 5. Whoa.
What about 7? Or like Bone Collector? What about those?
Yeah,
Seven?
this kind of
Oh,
movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
7. Yes, like it took me a second. Like I thought you meant like a 7th movie. Be like, yeah,
No,
7.
7.
David Fincher.
I mean,
Top 7.
yeah,
Yeah, no, they want-
crazy.
Yeah, Altug in the chat wants to do 7 on my channel. I'm like, I as far as Fincher, I'm more of like a Fight Club Zodiac guy, but I mean, 7's in the mix though.
Mhm.
Well, 7 is like one of the best serial killer movies that I've ever seen, and I was even talking about it on Zodiac Monday once about Kevin Spacey's preparation for being a serial killer, which he was talking about on the Lex Friedman channel. A lot of that ties into Zodiac, the mindset.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, Fincher's goated. Ned and I did Zodiac with Mike Morford on my channel. That's a classic.
yes, we did.
Classic movie review.
Yeah, and
Right,
I agree
because
that scene with Lake Berryessa was
Yeah,
absolutely terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most
Yeah, that's
realistic
Rob here in the chat.
thing ever. That's the most realistic scene ever.
Yeah,
You know,
for-
Ross, what I think
for
I said on your
31
channel
minutes.
was like, to respond to Rob Beansman here, the Lake Berryessa scene in the 2007 film was pretty terrifying. I said every time I watched that, it became a little bit more terrifying. I didn't think at all anything about it when I saw the movie for the first time, but I would just watch that scene over and over again on YouTube, and you could actually get into the horror mindset of if this were really happening to you, that you're going to be stabbed by this man in the hooded costume who's just like, "All I want's your buddy. I'm just trying to get to Mexico."
And broad daylight. And you're like, Mexico is far as shit. What the hell's this guy talking about? You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I'd be thinking in San Francisco. Like, dude, take a plane. Earl Van
Yeah.
Best did.
Yeah, I'm an escape from prison. Oh yeah, we're doing Toxic Avenger. Wait, no. We have a special episode, Election Day episode. Okay, the end of the world. November 2nd, 2 p.m. They Live, John Carpenter, Roddy Piper, Keith David, Paradigm Review Show, special Election Day show, dystopian sci-fi, epic show. So just watch out. But then after that, Toxic Avenger. That's the next week. If there's still a world, you got to think Toxic Avenger is kind of perfect because it's like post-apocalyptic.
Mhm.
Paradigm
Yes,
Review
yeah.
Show on PXF.
If the world still exists. Yeah. So yeah, for my number 5, it's difficult because did I choose a classic one or a new one in the new generation of
classic.
I mean, you go
Yes,
classic
you-
because there's not that many new ones that are up
No,
there.
but there is a time with James Wan and Oren Peli with Insidious, with Sinister, this kind of movie.
No, man, Suspiria and always 70s. I'm an 80s, 90s.
Yes,
horror.
Suspiria from Dario Argento is really
Yep,
excellent.
exactly.
Yeah, like Pet
but
Cemetery. Yeah, Children of the
Yes,
Corn.
we have these two here, Children of the Corn and Pet Cemetery. I absolutely love Children of the Corn 1. I think it's an amazing horror film, and it has so many great horror elements. I've not seen Children of the Corn 2, sadly, and I jumped straight to 3, Urban Harvest, which isn't the
the
most
one with the corn
necessary
monster?
film to make, about Amish kids who get transported into the hood, much like the Leprechaun, and then
I just watched Pet Cemetery 2. It was absolutely insane.
Oh, I need to see that one. I've only seen Pet Cemetery 1, but I'm so glad because there's so many memes on Facebook about Pet Cemetery 1, just about like showing like this open road or something, or they'll show a picture of a truck. If you don't understand this, you're lucky, and so on. And
Yeah.
like they're just references to Pet Cemetery, but
Two was dope. I mean, there's Cujo, like Ned said. There's Sometimes They Come Back. That's a dope Stephen King series. Christine, you know what I mean? Christine seems like something that Zodiac was referencing because he was talking about that movie, The Car, which is like the horror movie, the possessed muscle car. But Christine is like also a possessed car, like a female spirit. So there's quite a few possessed car movies that Zodiac would have been interested in.
I'm so glad you just brought up The Car. I meant to watch that movie like 4 years ago, and like every time I think of the 1987 Letter, I'm just like, oh yeah.
It was absolutely sick. You should check it out. It was way better than I thought. I thought it was just going to be random, but it's it kind of like it's like what's that movie? The Hitcher or what? The Rutger Hauer one when he's like that truck, terrorizing the people. But there's like a few movies like that, like Hitchhiker kind of movies.
But is The Car actually like what the Zodiac says, that a car is a nice weapon and the death machine cruises around?
I don't know if it was Richard or whoever that said that, like he was referring to that horror movie, The Car, but I forget where that came from. Was that
the 87 Letter?
Psycho and Ed Gein. Ed Gein is crazy. He's the inspiration for Leatherface.
For Psycho.
Yeah, Zodiac reference.
Psycho and Leatherface.
Yes, I saw that on Zodiac Ciphers, Richard.
Children of the Horn about true crime enthusiasts think Horn's theories. Children of the Corn is epic though. I mean, the other Stephen Kings are what's it called? Tommy Knockers and
the Tommy Knockers. Yeah.
Stephen King has a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a deep roster. Dark Tower was kind of mid.
Yeah, and the book
the movie for Dark Tower was very, as you said, it was mid, so. Like, I didn't read the books, but I watched the movie, and I'm like, there's been so much build up. All these people that read the Dark Tower books, and they're just kind of talking to me about it, and they're just like, it's the most amazing thing ever. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, that's just kind of a mediocre film. It's not horrible; it's just mediocre.
Yeah.
Oh, a good example for that is the Salem Slot. The book is really excellent, but the movie is.
There's a new version of that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blair Witch. What do you guys think about Blair Witch? I remember the crazy, just everybody was talking about the Blair Witch Project, and
I used to like it, but when they made like all those whack sequels and just it kind of became like a money monster,
you didn't like Book of Shadows?
I didn't think it was scary. I've been lost in the woods several times. Okay, it's not that scary.
Okay, but Melissa, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm so glad you talked about how much hype there was about the Blair Witch Project, and everybody's saying it's like the scariest movie ever. Yeah. But when I finally got around to seeing it, it's one of those things where it's been talked about so much that it's ruined. You're like,
this is
really? It's like just kind of people with their handheld cam or something walking around, and it actually happened pretty close to me in my part of West Virginia. It's like in Burkittsville, Maryland, or Brunswick, Maryland, or whatever it was. But,
found footage.
It's just once people make something sound like the best movie in the world and you watch it, it's always going to be a little bit disappointing. Unless it's like The Dark Knight or something like that. And
right.
Cloverfield is a better found footage movie.
Yeah, I Cloverfield is also extremely hyped up. I only saw that one about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's like, it's pretty good.
But I think it depends how you see the movie. If you see the Blair Witch Project with some ghost and spirit in the movie, no, it's not frightening. But if you don't think there is any witch, or there is any ghost, there is anything, and it was a crime premeditated by these two guys, it could be really scary, because you see the evolution of the persona in the movie, who at the beginning are nice with the girls, and after they are pissed, and it comes at the end to her death. So, and we don't know if something happens after that. We don't know. So if you see that as a horror movie with witch, it depends. It
Yeah,
depends.
you mean like a psychological thriller,
Yeah.
how the zombie
Yeah.
movies are actually about what's happening to the people.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Like
the girls turning
Shining.
against each other, not
Like-
trusting each other, blah blah.
What
Like
was the name of
Shining.
the movie with the TV? The TV.
Videodrome.
What was it?
Videodrome.
Nope.
Video,
No?
no, you mean with the spirit, the girl comes out of it or whatever?
Yeah, the girl walks
The
out of the
Ring?
TV. What is
Something
it?
like
Ah,
that.
The Ring.
The Ring.
The Ring?
What about
Ringu?
the Ring?
They're based on the Korean movie Ringu.
Yeah,
And
it's an adaptation from a Korean movie. Yeah.
I
um,
thought that
That's
one
another
was-
movie that was hyped up for me so much. When I finally saw The Ring, I wasn't scared at all. You know, it's like I was a
I
school
love
teacher and I showed it to my students. They weren't scared either. They're like, "Teacher, this is boring." I'm like, sorry.
A movie who is scary, but after the fact, it's dark. Dark Water. Why? Because you have the story of Elisa Lam years after, and it's the exact. It's exactly what happened in the movie and what happened to Elisa Lam. So
Jerome,
when you yeah.
we all watched Dark Water because of Elisa Lam. Like, it was on YouTube, and everybody in the comment section was talking about Elisa Lam. That's why I saw the movie. And you know,
Me
there's
too.
one scene where there's this ghost in the movie Dark Water, and she's behind a set of frosted glass panels, and you can actually see like what resembles Elisa Lam's clothes. And the movie was made years before Elisa Lam went
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
people are all pointing this out, and I'm like, yeah, it does look like Elisa Lam's clothes. They're not the same, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I'm on board with you, Jerome.
Oh, you know, it was a movie in 2005, so you will not spoil so much if you.
For the case, yeah, I don't give away too much of the endings, but I guess I would just say I think the girl's actually wearing some type of schoolgirl costume behind the glass, but it looks like Elisa Lam's clothes from the elevator video. When did she go missing? Was it 2014?
Yeah.
2014,
Yeah.
2015, thereabouts.
Poltergeist is sick. Poltergeist
Yeah.
is super dope.
Yeah.
Scary.
Another Toby Hooper movie, because
Yep.
It's-
Toby Hooper's the man.
yeah, it's Toby Hooper. His first movie was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and his second one was Poltergeist.
Interesting.
And Poltergeist is very, very, very scary, in my opinion.
What's
In
your
my
fifth,
opinion.
Jerome? Quit stalling.
Ah, I'm in the balance between Jaws
Jaws.
and The Things.
Okay.
The Thing.
From
Yeah.
Jaws-
See, I was going to
from
bring up
Jaws.
Jaws because none of us really mentioned any monster movies. So Jaws or Lake Placid.
I never saw Lake Placid, Ross. That is
Giant-
like so
giant
high on my list.
crocodile.
I've always wanted to see Lake Placid.
Yep, you got to see that.
We're going to need a bigger
Well,
boat. I
you know,
think
like,
Jaws qualifies. I mean, The Thing
Well,
is
yeah,
good.
sure. Because like I always see Jaws on
Oh,
the
The
list of
Thing
top
is
horror
excellent.
movies, and when I think of horror movies, I think of like shark movies as their own thing, like shark horror, and even the best shark movies. And clearly, it's Sharknado, greatest thing ever made. Um,
I
no,
mean,
I saw up to Sharknado 5 actually. It really took a nice turn in Sharknado 4, but maybe we can discuss that at another point.
yeah, as far as the sci-fi sequels, I've seen like all the Pumpkinheads, all the Hellraisers. I've seen a few of them, but man, once you start getting into the Sharknados, it gets pretty far back.
Well,
The
that's why I
Fly
view Shark.
horror
Yeah, go
sci-fi.
ahead. Go ahead.
The Fly is horror sci-fi. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it that high on either list, but The Fly is dope though. I love that concept. The
Me
Fly
too.
1, The Fly 2. Well, most famous horror movie like theme songs, we would say like Halloween, Jaws, maybe Friday the 13th or something. I don't know if
The
Nightmare on-
Exorcist.
Yeah.
The Exorcist,
by the way-
Candyman.
Carrie,
Candyman. That's another. good one.
Candyman. Yeah.
Sure. Candyman. We barely talked at all about The Exorcist, and we have the Zodiac Killer's Exorcist letter from 1974, where he says, I saw and think The Exorcist was the best satirical comedy ever. I did not like The Exorcist at all. The Zodiac was a terrible person. He was an asshole. But this is one thing that him and I would have agreed upon. Be like, yeah, I know, right? You saw that? Wasn't that a silly movie? I saw The Exorcist when I was like 15. I didn't think it was scary. I thought all of like Linda Blair's weird head movements were just dumb. Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah,
I know she does,
there's
but
a lot of quotables.
Well,
I will admit I've never seen The Exorcist.
No, The Exorcist is dope. I
No.
mean, it's
No.
still the best. Like I know what Ned's talking about. It has its moments that obviously Scary Movie 2 spoofs with the pea soup, but it's still the best like possession movie. You know what I mean? Because all the
Yeah.
new ones since have just been the possession genre. It's like they're all just pseudo versions of The Exorcist and butt cheeks. But
Sure.
we
Fair
neglected to mention in The Exorcist 3, there's this character, the Gemini Killer, who's based on Zodiac. He's
Excellent.
basically a possessed serial killer. So there's
Oh,
quite a
wow.
bit more Zodiac overlap.
I'll
Would you
have to watch
suggest
that
that I
one.
watch The Exorcist tonight on Halloween?
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
an excellent idea.
And then if you're a Zodiac head, you can keep going till you get to the sequel where they have their whack Zodiac character.
Mhm.
Uh,
I'll see if I can
Frost, I
find
would
that
love to do. I'm gonna love to watch that. I want to see The Exorcist 2 first. What's it called? The Heretic. It's rated like one of the worst
The
horror
Heretic,
movies ever.
yeah.
And
yeah,
then number 3 is
actually
like
has some
pretty
decent
good.
versions of it,
Not good. The third one was better. The first one and the third one was really good, but the second one was no.
Jaws is a
No.
damn classic. None of us see it.
Yeah.
Rich likes it. None of us mentioned any zombie movies, but they mentioned Dawn of the Dead in the chat. Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
the
I
original.
like
Yeah,
I love a
for sure.
zombie apocalypse.
For sure. Like I said, there is different kind of movie. You cannot compare, let's say, Psycho with The Day of the Dead, for example, and you
Yeah,
cannot
zombies are like
compare.
action horror.
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah, and you have movie so not so scary but bloody gore movie who you have blood everywhere, and they are not so scary, but this is a different gender of movie in the horror cinema. But Richard said
Have you guys
Exorcist
seen?
best horror ever. Yeah,
The Exorcist
think
is
you're
not
right.
a horror movie. It's a satirical comedy, and we all know it.
It's the finest satirical comedy I have ever seen, Rich. I watched
Yeah.
it.
Hey, anybody want to sing Mikado lyrics out of nowhere?
Oh my
Find
gosh.
yours truly.
Shaun of
Yeah,
the
the
Dead.
blood.
Yeah, that's a funny.
Okay,
Shaun
Richard,
of
no.
the Dead.
Want to talk zombie movies?
Which is
Shaun of the
funny.
Dead is an amazing zombie movie because it starts out just kind of like a dorky spoof movie, then it turns
Yeah.
into a movie with its own serious
Wow.
storyline. I love Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
28 days later, Rich. 28 weeks later. 28 years later. About a cult leader who controls his YouTube like Charles Manson. That I would watch that. the raw spots from Planet X. I would watch that. Or you want me to crowdfund it? Well, I could direct it wouldn't be a B movie; it'd be a C movie. What was I just thinking of when we were talking zombies? Oh, okay. So like cryptid movies. So I'm watching this thing right now, The Legend of Boggy Creek. You probably heard of this, Ned.
Nope.
The Boggy Creek monster was
Boggy
in
Creek?
Arkansas, actually right near Texarkana, Ned, right south of it in Falk. And this is like, I believe it's the 50s, 60s, and this monster kept getting seen, and then they shot at it and stuff. It had all these interactions with these ranchers. Then it comes back like 8 years later, way more violent, like coming up on the deck, smashing everything, killing people's cats and their animals. And I'm right at the last half hour of it now. But this movie, The Legend Boggy Creek, is supposed to be some people that actually interacted with the actual incident, like some of the people who actually dealt with the real thing reprised their roles in this movie. It's like a B level, like she was saying, like Grindhouse movie. But if you're in 40 Days a Night, I like that
Yeah.
concept of
The first time we saw
Alaska.
vampire like this,
Yeah.
because we also we all the time see vampire in a way that they are mostly human, and but no,
What-
in this movie 14 days plus 40 day of night, you see that the vampire are not human, they are real monster. And I think it was the first movie
Oh, yeah.
who talk about the vampire in this way.
Is this the
it's
sequel
like
to 30 Days of Night?
I think it's 30 Days of Night. That's probably what the movie is. It's based on a graphic novel, but
Yeah.
it's like the opposite of that movie, Insomnia. I think, is that a serial kill movie, Ned, with Al Pacino's chasing?
And Robin Williams. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because Robin Williams was really good in that one because he plays like this novelist who starts like committing real murders, and it's also all about like morality and ethics and right and wrong and guilt and shame. The critics absolutely loved Insomnia when it came out, and Robin Williams was a great person. He could do the funny stuff, but he could also do the horror movies. Not every comedian can pull that off.
Yeah, Death to Smoochie. And I liked Insomnia because it's like the opposite of 30 Days of Night, because in Alaska, when you get up towards the North Pole, you basically get 30 days of like direct sunlight, and then you get 30 days of night, and that was the vampire thing. But Insomnia was showing you like when he was chasing him through the canyons, it was like light all day. So when you go to bed at night, it's like the sun's still up. You know what I mean? Pretty nuts.
Right.
There is
Midnight
no-
Sun.
Did that
To
earlier.
respond to your husband,
Yeah.
that was my first
Yeah.
number one movie.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree. Shining is one of the
Nobody said
So,
Silence of the Lambs or Hannibal.
yes, Silence of the
Yeah,
Lamb,
yeah.
Did you
Hannibal,
guys
yeah.
talk about that?
Hannibal,
Yeah, we talked about it. We just mentioned it briefly in the
You did?
beginning. Yeah,
Okay.
Rich brought up Dog Soldiers.
Insomnia,
Insomnia is
Okay,
with
but-
crazy.
Al Pacino,
Remember?
which
One
is
thing we
not a
shared, though.
horror movie.
About the Silence of the Lambs. They made this list once of the best fictional horror villains ever. Hannibal Lecter was rated at number 1 because he doesn't have to kill people. He can just convince people to kill themselves or to
Yeah.
torture themselves, like Mason Verger and so on.
Yeah.
Hannibal as a sequel is pretty damn good. It's a shame it doesn't have Jodie Foster, or else it would be a lot better. But
Jodie
Red
Foster.
Dragon was also a very good prequel,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
about how they were able to use digital aging back at that time when that was something that perhaps wasn't as easy to do as it is now, or as
Yeah,
commonplace
Red
as it is
Dragon
now.
was epic.
Oh, Jerome, that cockroach came back in my room. Get the fuck out. Right before the live stream, this cockroach walked in the door.
Man.
Get some
fucking
raid
beat
and
that thing with a slipper and so on.
Yeah,
blast
it's Halloween.
that fool, Ned. Blasted with some raid. So I'm right at the end of the Legend of Boggy Creek, y'all. So pretty much what happens at the end is like I know like the monster attacks the ranch and like they just open season on him with like 3 or 4 rifles and there's just like a massive shootout, supposedly based on a real event. But if you're into cryptids and that sort of thing,
I am, Ross, but here's the problem that I learned, from watching Michael Myers movies. When you have some type of villain in that situation, shooting him with lots of bullets does not work. They're gonna come back. That's why
Yeah.
they have sequels, because
Well,
it does not work.
especially when this is a real story and from the reports they like shot at it a few times and every time it just supposedly a real story, it just went away and came back. So it doesn't seem like them even shooting it was doing it much to it. It was just taking the shots, which is insane.
I do like
The
stories
Fog
about
is
cryptids,
dope,
though.
and then Pixie did Serpent in the Rainbow earlier. Serpent in the Rainbow is absolutely nuts.
I've never seen it.
You would like
No.
that, Ned. That's really crazy movie. It's a
Hey,
guy
you
that
need to watch a horror movie, Ned. It's
Bring
it's
it on.
excellent. When I watch a horror movie, it's to relax myself. I put an Hellraiser and I'm on the sofa like this and I'm watching like this. Oh, it's good. It's good.
yeah.
Come on, Pinhead. Come on, guy.
Jerome just gently meditates to Hellraiser while people get ripped in half by chains.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's
Hellraiser
nice
3,
because
I could do that easily. Hellraiser 3. I mean, Hellraiser
Oh.
2 a little bit more because you have like the mental institution stuff. Hellraiser 1, like I said, that would have been very intense for a kid.
I'm going to tell you why I love so much horror movie. I'm going to tell you why. Because in this world, but it's my opinion, you don't have ghosts, you don't have vampire, you don't have monster, you don't have demons, you don't have angels, you don't have all those supernatural things. In my opinion, maybe they exist. I don't know, never seen, but in this kind of horror movie, let's say Hellraiser, if you
Mhm.
put your mind in Hellraiser, it's a new world, a new universe, not all universe. It's a different universe where it's possible with a box to open the gate of the hell. Wow! Come on! It's so exciting because
the lament
it-
configuration.
yeah, exactly. And it's all about all the horror movie I know. It's all the time I'm in a different universe where this kind of stuff exists. And I accept it. I accept that in this universe it exists. And you need to put yourself in perspective in the movie and forget the real world and go in this universe to understand what's going on, what would make you laugh, Melissa.
Oh, sorry. Pixie,
No,
Fire Pixie
don't
said
be
it was.
sorry.
I got a phone call, and she said it was the call after watching The Ring. Like, yeah.
Way to bring
Yeah,
that
you have
dark
7 days
energy
to
on
live.
our stream, Pixie. Really appreciate that. I agree with Rich. Get Out 2017 was pretty sick. I haven't seen Mothman Prophecies. Seen Train to Busan.
Yeah.
Ross,
for
I have not
Melissa,
seen Mothman Prophecies either, and I'm a West Virginian, so I have no excuse. I saw the first 10 minutes. For some reason, I wasn't able to keep watching. I don't really remember what happened, but I've always wanted to because it's like a West Virginia story, a little bit. It has other states involved. That's the point. But someday,
for Melissa, I'm going to play the trailer of The Exorcist.
Okay.
You know what else? The old classics. Nosferatu, Dracula, Frankenstein. The Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I like those old
Yeah.
originals too.
Yeah.
Bride of
yeah,
Frankenstein, too.
All this movie are really good, really. Here we go. We are going to
Play it,
watch.
Jay. I'm gonna
the-
reload on my sweet apple cider.
We are going to watch this trailer for Melissa, like this. If you want to see a good horror movie for tonight, it's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Hey, where'd this come from?
I found it.
Well, let's both play.
You really don't want me to play?
Captain Howdy said no.
Who's Captain Howdy?
You're gonna die up there.
I need reassignment. You're the best we've got. I think I've lost my faith.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
Is it Captain Howdy? You ever heard of exorcism?
How do you go about getting an exorcism?
I beg your pardon? I'm Damien Karras. I'd like to help you. Where's Reagan?
In here with us.
I believe we should begin. Avoid conversations where the demon. The demon is a liar. You will mix lies with the truth
Why, Jimmy?
to attack us. Do not listen.
That thing is my daughter.
It is he who commands you. The power of Christ compels you.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Yeah, that song is so sick.
Ah, excellent.
You
This-
gotta watch it,
Well, that's
Melissa.
amazing.
Okay, Ned. Wait. So you think that's a satirical comedy?
That's what the Zodiac called it.
I didn't like the movie at all. I haven't seen
The
it
power
in
of
15
Christ
years.
compels you.
That scene I did like though, but I mean that's one of the most memorable parts of the movie. Yeah, that trailer looked badass. Maybe if I were to watch The Exorcist again, I might like it a little bit more.
Yeah, dude. No way. That iconic shot of him with walking through the front door with this briefcase with all the mist. I mean, there's just some crazy iconic shots in that movie.
Yeah, Father Ferrin,
Yeah.
like in the
The
Zodiac.
sequels kind of pan out too.
Oh. Ferrin, like
Father
in the
Merrin,
Zodiac.
right?
Oh no, it's
Merrin?
Merrin.
Yeah,
No,
Father
it's-
Merrin is in The
Yeah,
Exorcist.
it's Merrin because well, yeah, Ferrin.
Who directed The Exorcist?
I don't know,
William
but-
Friedkin.
William Friedkin. Well, I'll tell you what. The original case was supposed to be about a boy, right? And they,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, they changed it to a girl in the movie. But I don't know if it was a boy in Connecticut or she lived there as the actress. This is an actual true. In fact, one of the priests called in to help. The main priest was the priest at my grandmother's church, Roman Catholic. Of course, I have the proof. That's epic, Pixie.
Now, Fire Pixie, didn't you also say once on Black Box Online Radio that you knew a serial killer called the Amazon Review Killer? And I'm just saying this because you said that the second best horror movie is Your Life Story earlier in the chat. So I'm just asking, like, if that was you, right, who told me about the Amazon Review Killer? So if so, you're probably telling the truth about living through the best horror movie ever. I'm envious.
The Craigslist killer was in Boston, but I didn't come across him, though, because I would have put a stop to that shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I hadn't heard of the Amazon Review Killer until somebody in the chat was. I think it was Fire Pixie. Yes, it was Fire Pixie. She worked with him for 2 years.
Yikes.
You know, Ross, I've never come across any serial killers. I guess they're just really good at hiding it. And I don't know. Maybe I'm not their type or something like that. They're just into...
Not any that I know of. I used to listen to Roddy Piper's podcast all the time. Rest in peace. He's the action star of They Live and WWF Superstar. But on his podcast all the time, he apparently he met a few because when he wrestled back in the day, they used to tour around to every country. And he said that he ran into the Hillside Strangler. I think he said he used to live next to the Hillside Strangler, even though there were 2 of them, they're cousins or whatever. I don't know if it was both of them or one of them, but he would always tease that story on his podcast. And I'm like, when's he going to tell this damn Hillside Strangler story? Because Roddy Piper was freaking huge. So, if a serial killer tried something on that guy, Piper would have smashed him through the pavement. You know what I mean? Probably nothing happened, but he used to carry a 38 as well.
The Hillside Stranglers had more mother issues than pro wrestler issues, so they probably had a different type of victim profile.
Yeah, they were attacking women.
Murder any WWF superstars at the time.
Yeah, Piper would have mopped the floor with both those guys. Would have been funny, though.
Bianchi and Boney.
About books. I don't know if you read a lot of books or horror books.
I do.
I do. Melissa, I don't know.
Not a lot of horror books. I've read the Telltale Heart. Is that the prequel to Hellraiser, Jerome?
Yeah.
So I've read that because Hellraiser is the only, and then I have the From Hell graphic novel. At one point I read more graphic novels than actual. I read for actual books. I read sci-fi, alternative history like Zechariah Sitchin and whatnot.
And
oh wow, awesome, Ross! That's really cool.
Belgium, France.
I'm a big nerd for Ancient Aliens. There we go.
Mad Movies. It's a magazine. You have this.
I was going to ask you guys about the Terrifier. Did you guys, any of you guys watch the Terrifier?
Oh yeah, excellent.
Only the first one, Ross. I've not seen anything else. Any of the other?
So I'm up to speed.
The Clown.
I just saw 2 and 3 recently.
I love the first one.
No one mentioned It.
The original.
Yeah,
we were talking about Stephen King and we missed It. How the hell did we miss? That's number 1 King novel. So Stephen King is from Maine, Ned, and obviously I know you spent some time in Boston. I'm from the Boston area as well, and a few of my boys have run into King on the Common walking his dog, and so he's around town all the time in the New England area. You know what I mean?
Right on. I loved his stuff about Maine. I loved Storm of the Century. I saw that as a teenager, and I heard there was a different thing with that book. He just wrote it as a screenplay, and then the screenplay was published. So I don't know if it's actually written as a novel, but it's available in book form. I saw the miniseries. I love that one. Then The Mist, of course, is another one that comes up in the memes a lot, and people are kind of just drawing a lot of references. And I don't remember it as well, but yeah, sure, it's got good stuff.
Yeah, like Needful Things or anything based in a small New England town like Salem's Lot or Pet Cemetery. But to cross genres, Jerome, that's awesome. That's an amazing shot. To cross genres, Jerome, Stephen King wrote the sci-fi film The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger under a pen name. So King actually has a couple sci-fi projects himself.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
Robbie.
Very artistic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really.
Oh, dude, Chud, Cat Daddy Steve. Chud is fire, dude. I love Chud. I like Critters, Gremlins, Chud. Chud is crazy. And then Chud 2 is the slapstick comedy Bud the Chud. What about
There's-
Cannibal Holocaust, Ned?
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. Yeah,
Mhm.
Alien,
No, I haven't seen it.
which is science fiction, science
Yeah.
fiction, and
I like Maniac Cop, like Melissa was saying. She was onto something there with Maniac Cop. There you go. Leatherface. What about
yeah,
Looking good.
Texas Chainsaw 3, Leatherface, with Matthew McConaughey?
I was about to say that was like his breakout role, right? That's what that movie's famous
Yeah.
for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Academy Award winner Matthew
what a
McConaughey.
beautiful
Yep.
family.
Ed Edwards says cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. They're the worst. No, they're not. I think they're cool.
Never
Chud.
seen.
Chud is epic. I like the Romero zombie movies, of course. What's that movie? The Crazies? Do you guys mess with that?
Crazy.
Oh, I always confuse that one because there's one movie called The Crazies. What's the other one? It's called The Strangers or something. And I always get them confused. Is this like the apocalyptic one or the home invasion one?
The apocalyptic one. So there's a remake with Tim Oliphant down the line. And
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
the original Romero is like some sort of like military experiment. Biological weapon goes off in this town's water supply. So it basically basically turns everybody against each other. It's kind of like a human zombie concept, you know?
I would rather see that one because the Tim Oliphant one is the one I saw, and that was a little bit disappointing. I was expecting a lot more. Well, firstly, I thought there was going to be a different film, which I think is called The Strangers, based on another West Virginia real-life horror story. But then it was just a completely different movie, and I'm like, whatever, I'll watch it, anything, right? But
What
yeah.
about the others? The
I've
movie
never
The
seen
Others,
the
with
others.
Nicole Kidman. No.
Yeah, that's like what's her is it Angelina Jolie or what? One of those. I forget who the actress is, but
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Yeah.
I will
never
I
seen
will
it.
not spoil you, but it's a really excellent movie.
Cannibal
The Others.
I like cannibal
Really?
ones. I like zombie ones. What's that cannibal movie where they crash in the? It's like that new
Cannibal Holocaust.
Eli Roth. That Eli Roth movie where they crash in the jungle. They're like those activist kids. You guys haven't seen that one? Man, that movie is insane.
Cabin Fever, is it?
Not Cabin Fever, but that's a crazy concept too. I've seen a couple of those.
Now I guess I fell out of the loop with Eli Roth, but it's just I really do give him credit for saying that it's cool to like blood and gore. And
The Green Inferno. I think it's called The Green Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Greek Inferno?
Green Inferno.
Green.
Inferno. No, I've never seen that one. I haven't heard of that one, but I'm down for some Eli Roth stuff. And when Hostel came out, that was another film that was super hyped up about how it's the most horrific thing ever. I didn't really think so. It's just
Hostel was
it's
pretty nuts. I thought it was better than Saw. Saw I thought got old pretty fast.
The first one was good.
And
The first
after
one.
2, it was like you knew it was
But-
going to be repetitive.
The psychological elements in Saw are pretty good, like Jigsaw playing the game. Yeah, sure. But as far as being horrifying, I don't really think so. But I really do appreciate the meme on Facebook when somebody said, I would die in one of Jigsaw's games so fast because he'd have to repeat the instructions like 10 times. Wait, what? What am I supposed to do? Oh, wait. And then you're dead or something. And what's that one? Oh, the Toolbox Murders. Bittaker and Norris, right? Yeah. Like I've never actually talked about them on Black Box Online Radio yet, but they're a bunch of sick freaks and so on.
This magazine
Ooh.
is really excellent. I don't know if
Hey, you
can-
know what I like,
Oh,
guys?
beautiful.
Those like post-apocalyptic freak movies, like The Hills Have Eyes, where they're like demented from
Yeah.
the atomic bomb experiments, dude.
Yeah, Wes
Oh,
Craven.
Eyes, crazy.
I love the Hills Have Eyes.
Yo, I crowdfunded a movie coming out in December called Desert Fiends, where it's kind of like similar to that Hills Have Eyes concept.
The Tale of the Crypt. Well, it was a series. It's
Sure.
for kids.
Tales of Crypt,
Like
dope.
Creep Show. Creep Show.
I liked
was,
it as a kid.
Creep Show.
I mean, I could tell that it had a little bit of a lower production value than the movies I was watching, but yeah, I like Tales from the Crypt.
Natural Born
Leprechaun
Killer.
1
It's
is
not
kinda
really an horror movie, but
Natural Born Killers
Okay.
is genius.
Now, Natural Born Killers is based on the Starkweather Fugate murders from 57-58. And there's so many movies that have been made about this. Badlands, which is referenced by the Zodiac Killer, but also there's even the movie Starkweather, and what's that other really famous Murder in the Heartland is also based on the same story. And I've been working through the movies that have been based on that case, but I haven't actually seen Natural Born Killers yet. Maybe
you
it's
gotta see Natural Born Killers is epic, bro. So there's a massive rift between Stone changing some of Tarantino's dialogue, and Tarantino goes crazy if you change his words. So when that happened, you guys might be familiar with this. Tarantino said, "Only credit me as story," as opposed to like written by Tarantino. So if you look at the credits, it's story by Quentin Tarantino. But Stone allowed Tarantino to release his own Tarantino version of the script. So I think you can buy that online or whatever, read it online, where it's like the actual pure Tarantino version, as opposed to what the Stone movie is, which is epic. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., Woody Harrelson, ensemble cast, absolutely epic film.
And California with the K is also based on the same story, the Starkweather Fugate murders, and that one I have seen, but I really have to watch Natural Born Killers.
I need to do Badlands. We gotta go ahead, Drum.
Smiley Face Killer. Yeah.
Certainly.
Yes.
Yeah. Ned knows a lot about the Smiley Face Killer.
But Rob might be asking about the documentary that was made about the Smiley Face Killers, the most famous one that was halfway documentary, halfway drama. And I don't really mean like a mockumentary. Like it's actually like halfway documentary, halfway drama. And they just kind of left a lot of the things up to your imagination to tell which is which. No, I'm not a big believer in the Smiley Face Killers theory.
Yeah, we gotta do Badlands, Ned. We might need to, once I watch Badlands, we might need to get you and Rich on the show.
I've seen Badlands.
What'd you think?
I don't know.
Ned?
It wasn't that great.
Have you seen Natural Born Killers?
Yeah.
Maybe like years and years ago.
I just wondered like what your comparison would be because it's based on the same source.
Melissa, not only is Badlands not that great, it sucks because it's all just about like glorifying like this killer and so on, and then yeah, I'm a killer. They're like, yeah, you are a killer. Isn't that cool? And that's where Zodiac's pissed off because, hey, I've been a serial killer for X amount of years. Nobody wants to say anything nice about me. They won't even wear my dorky ass buttons. They got Martin Sheen playing this Charlie Starkweather dude. He was a fucking garbage man. I at least had a day job, allegedly.
The Scorpion Killer. There is an epic Jack the Ripper movie. I call it From Hell. I mean, it's less historically accurate and more based on a random graphic novel, but epic as far as like Victorian, Gothic London, noir. Johnny Depp is the GOAT, in my opinion.
And if you want the noir one,
Christina Ricci,
Jack the Ripper from 1959.
Hell yeah. Have you guys seen Pumpkinhead?
I was asking you just before about books you like to read. So for me, it's our book, Stephen King. For me, it's Stephen King, definitely.
So what do you got? Name your tops, like Dr. Sleep or what?
Me? I have all the book of Stephen King. All books. All. In French and English.
Did you watch that?
I'm a weirdo.
Did you watch that Dr. Sleep movie, Jerome?
Yeah.
Was it dog shit?
It's difficult because, like I told you, in my theory of The Shining, the weird stuff we see in the movie, it's the story Jack is writing. So it's my theory. So, okay, some agree, some disagree.
Yeah.
If you go on this way, there is no Dr. Sleep because there is no Danny Torrance with The Shining, and so nobody has The Shining, and so it doesn't make sense. But if you follow, let's say, the movie that you watch for the first time, you watch Shining, and you are okay, this is a haunted hostel with ghosts, and the man became crazy and tried to kill his wife, and because ghosts told him to do it, he was an alcoholic. So there is some strange behavior like this. You can continue with this narrative and doing Dr. Sleep. You can do it. and Stephen King had wrote it, the book before the movie came out.
Absolutely.
So I was in the same vibes of the Shining book of Stephen King, but you need to forget the movie, and you need to focus on the first book, The Shining by Stephen King, and read after that Dr. Sleep. And these two books make sense, but the two movie doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
the first one.
That's kind of what I expected. Yeah, I can't deal with the Shining sequel. I'm not going to lie to you. So, wait, everybody here's seen the Shining. You've seen it, right, Melissa? Okay. So, what did the ending mean when it showed him in the retro picture? Because like that was obviously the past. Like everybody has their own interpretation. I know in your version, Jerome, it's all in the book, but that's kind of contrary to that.
It was for me. It was a reincarnation. It means the story continued to go and
so
goes
he keeps
and goes
repeating.
and goes. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. We had some. Yeah, they're asking about Jack the Ripper in the chat. We had some good questions, obviously from Hell. Somebody asked the best Jack Dracula movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola. I agree. Love that one.
I agree.
No, I haven't seen the original Nosferatu. I want to see the original Nosferatu, and then the new Nosferatu is coming out almost next month, December.
The original Nosferatu is really excellent. Really,
Absolutely.
Really,
love
really
Coppola. Good. Coppola's Dracula is pretty. Even though Keanu's like British accent is not the best, like overall the movie is sick. What's his name? Gary Oldman's Dracula is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Gary Oldman, but everyone in the movie,
What Anthony Hopkins plays what Van Helsing. So pretty stacked ensemble cast.
Yeah, this cast is amazing. The movie is amazing. And by the way, Melissa, like you have said before, you are from Milwaukee or
Chicago.
Chicago. So
And Milwaukee.
and Milwaukee. Are you familiar with Making a Murderer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
What do you think about that? Because I start this channel to talking about Making a Murderer, the story of Teresa Albach, Stephen Avery, Brendan Dassey. Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough case. I mean, I think his nephew, Brandon, I think he was innocent. I don't know about Stephen Avery. I'm kind of torn. I'm divided on that. It's tough. That was out of Manitowoc County, so that was actually further north than Milwaukee. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north.
Yeah.
Straight north of Milwaukee, and that happened years ago. But yeah, I don't. It's hard to know. I know Candace Owens has her opinions on everything. I haven't been able to watch her take on it yet, but I don't know. I definitely believe. Yeah, I believe that his nephew was innocent. He needs to be released immediately. Stephen Avery, I
don't know.
I don't know. I've never heard of Candace Owens speaking on true crime, but I'll tell you what, she's about as dumb as a rock on politics. So I don't know how far I would deal with her true crime.
Well, yeah, she did the show Murderer for Daily Wire Plus last year, and the first episode's free on YouTube. And when Jerome and I were talking to Jerry Buting here on this channel, I mean, he openly said that he only watched the free one too, and I'm like, oh, thank God, that's going to make this so much easier. Because I'm not paying to watch Candace Owens talk about true crime.
No, I'm not paying her to talk about anything.
People like the series though. The ones that watched it, and sent me some stuff.
Interesting. Oh, cool.
The CKK is coming back.
The Sakiki letter is something that was written about Making a Murderer, but it's not written in English, right, Ed? It's written in old runic, like Norse runes, right? So we can't read it. Right. This is his observation.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a Oak Island Curse of Oak Island fanboy fanatic, and that reminds me of the Kensington Stone, Ned, which is some runic stones found in the United States here in Minnesota.
Yep.
We got to get Ned up on Oak Island.
Yep. It's been a long time since I looked at anything Oak Island.
You're missing out.
Oak Island. Yeah, there is a treasure there.
Mm-hmm.
I do
Yeah.
know
Lisa?
where Peshtigo is in Marinette County. Yep. My outlaws, my former in-laws, have a lake house out in Marinette County outside of Crivets. And Marinette County used to be one of my clients for work, so I am very familiar with that whole town. And then the Peshtigo, there's history that goes all the way back to the Peshtigo fire, which I believe was the same night as the Chicago fire. Unless it was the exact same night, so there's some connections there too. But yeah, I'm familiar with that area.
Wasn't the H.H. Holmes Murder House World's Fair at Chicago? Wasn't that Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the first serial killer. H.H.
Yeah.
Holmes.
Some people have him as a Jack the Ripper suspect.
Yeah.
Aphrodite Jones is a great true crime chick.
Yeah.
She sure is.
I like Ned's interview with her.
Yeah, excellent interview.
Thank you.
That was a good one.
Oh, Fire Pixie is from that place. What's it called, Melissa? Peshtigo, Wisconsin?
I call it Peshtigo. Yeah.
Is it Peshtigo or Peshtigo?
Peshtigo, I think is how you
Okay,
pronounce
that's where
it.
Fire Pixie's from. All right, I was wondering why she was asking about that, but yeah, go for it.
That's awesome.
Oak Island season, whatever it is, starts November 12th. I'll be tuned in and locked in.
Okay, Ross, I'll try to catch some of that, then we can do an episode, because we know what the treasure is. It's the secret writings of Francis Bacon, right? Confessing to all the secrets of England and his era.
It's either that, or it's the Ark of the Covenant, or it's the Holy Grail, or it's the medieval Templar treasure, but definitely some wiggle room.
By the way,
Treasure.
I just heard this thing today. Maybe I've heard it before and I've forgotten, but you know, Francis Bacon is someone who may have written William Shakespeare's plays. He's like the real playwright, right? William Shakespeare wrote 37 plays. The Zodiac Killer said he killed 37 people, or me 37. He's actually trying to be William Shakespeare. I mean, I have heard that before, actually, because it's a video that I've watched more than once, but I had forgotten that. So that's the secret of the Zodiac's 37.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He thought he was.
I think we would see some other Shakespeare reference in the Zodiac letters, but yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, well, of course, you guys know I'm skeptical about that stuff. But,
No. I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just somebody else, talking on YouTube and so on. But, like, sometimes you just got to appreciate the different types of ideas.
Absolutely.
And Fire Pixie says it's pronounced Peshtigo. Thanks, Fire Pixie.
Peshtigo. I'm sorry, I'm from Belgium. My accent is terrible. Yeah, and the name of the channel before was the French Wrecking Crew. Yeah, sure.
Oui.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about the... Yeah, I was talking about Teresa Albach because she went missing on Halloween. That's why I was asking Melissa if she was... she didn't know the story of Teresa Albach and making a murderer and everything. Because she's supposedly been killed or abducted. I don't know. I have no clue on that. But yeah, she was supposedly killed on Halloween. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, Teresa Albach. I mean, that's what's mysterious about that case is how she disappeared, in or around the location. And I mean, she had a reason to be there, right? She was working for that Auto Trader magazine, and he had obviously lots of cars and stuff on his property. That part is why I can't really write him off, but I can also take into account, other reasons why, maybe he could have been framed, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. It's you can't change the circumstances of, number one, where she disappeared and why she was there. So, I try to not let go too far from that when drawing some conclusions. But yeah.
But yeah, it's... You see, Darkseid before was thinking that Steven and Brandon was not guilty, and now she believes Steven and Brandon are guilty.
Really?
She changed her mind.
I mean, there's a lot of things I changed about the Cobain case. I mean, obviously, a lot of us, a lot of us move stuff around on Zodiac after we look at it for years and years and years. So it's kind of easy to, modify. What? Citizens Detective show shut down? That's crazy. They just hit 1,000 subs. I just watched part 2 of their Santa Rosa Hitchhiker. That's a great show.
That series was great, Ross. Yes, I was even plugging them. Hey, everybody, go over, subscribe to Citizen Detective. They're at like 993 subscribers. Oh, well, hello.
Hello, Rob.
That's Jeffrey.
What up,
Jeffrey Thornton.
What up, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeffrey. Sorry.
Welcome to the
Jeffrey.
show.
Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see
Silence
you
of the
too.
Lambs. Go get some horrors on in that other room.
Yeah.
What was I just thinking of?
Prepare the
You need to
exorcist
get-
for your wife.
You need to get Drew on, Jerome, to do Yuba County 5, and maybe you guys get Tony Doug right with Drew, because that
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Yuba County, Melissa, but that the 5 missing boys, that is
Yeah,
crazy.
the story
one,
crazy.
you know? As far as
That one. No,
Yeah,
I
check
haven't heard
that
that
out.
one yet.
yeah, send her like some stuff on that, Jerome, or maybe something from Drew's channel or Tony's channel.
Mhm.
So, continue to talking about scary stuff. Do you believe in alien, UFOs?
No, but I do believe in Yetis.
That's what I was saying about Boggy Creek, yeah.
And Bigfoot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigfoot and
Oh, yeah.
Sasquatch, hell yeah. No, I believe in aliens. I believe in pretty much everything. You know what's interesting about if you've watched a lot of Ancient Aliens like me, which is a great use of your time for a grown adult man, but I've pretty much seen every season of every episode, is when they do the combinations of like Bigfoot with the aliens. So like there's multiple times of like someone sees a UFO land in the woods, and then like she was saying like a Yeti or a Bigfoot walks right out from where it lands. So I don't know. I'm not to say it's connected, but they've seen like enough crossover. Maybe Bigfoot's just walking by when the UFO flies by. I don't really know what the science is, but if it's connected, then that that what I'm getting at here is like the Bigfoot is an interdimensional. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole. If the Bigfoot is an interdimensional being, like that's just Bigfoot's already crazy and they can't find him. If he's beaming in between dimensions, makes it significantly crazier and harder to discover, right? So,
Oh,
just a
sure,
theory.
Ross. I grew up with something similar to that, where people would talk about how, like, if you could open up the interdimensional portals, these different types of creatures would come out. And I know
Yeah.
the guy who saw them. He didn't exactly see Bigfoot. He just saw, like, these things that had elongated faces that definitely were not from Earth, because they came out of the portal, and he witnessed this firsthand.
Yeah, so we need to get on my show, and we got to do a whole cryptids, a cryptids volume 1 episode, because my boy Gaz really wants to talk about it. But if you, Jerome and Ned, or whoever else wants to jump with us, you guys are welcome. So
Bring
Ned
it
is familiar with some Massachusetts legends, and I originally grew up in New Hampshire, where I'm from, but I lived like more than half my life in Massachusetts, where all of my family is from. Now, have you heard of the Bridgewater Triangle, Ned?
No.
Okay, so there's this swamp in southern Massachusetts, Jerome, called the Hockomock Swamp, where the Wampanoag natives originated. And so it's basically like they call it the Bridgewater Triangle. And it's one of these vortexes like the Bermuda Triangle or the Dragon's Triangle on the opposite side of it, but it's like much smaller, a swamp kind of vortex in Massachusetts. It's where you have this concentration of sightings of gray aliens, sightings of UFOs, sightings of Bigfoot. There's a creature called the Pukwudgies, which are these small troll creatures that are a Wampanoag legend. So you literally have everything from and then I think there's another thing called the Dover Devil, which is similar to a chupacabra type of look, a chupacabra type of look. So basically you have all these different kinds of cryptids in this one location, which is the Hockomock Swamp in the Bridgewater Triangle, Bridgewater, Massachusetts. There's also, I'm sure you've heard of this one, Ned, in the 70s in Freetown. There was like those satanic murders there in the Freetown State Forest, where they drew the pentagram in the rocks. And it was like the 3, I think, prostitutes that were found like tied to a tree or whatever. That's not, Freetown, I think, is not that far from that same Bridgewater Hockomock Swamp. So it's just one of these random things where you have this one location where people report like everything in this one swamp. Why that is, I couldn't tell you. It's just concentrated area.
Well, I'm going to have to get back on some of my stuff on that, because I'm a little bit rusty. But as far as this year, I was definitely more into Bigfoot than to UFOs, and I can do a lot of Sasquatch stuff.
Yeah, I love
Woody Ross and Cat Daddy Steve. You're heavy
You
into
gotta watch
Sasquatch.
Boggy Creek.
We're gonna have to tune into that one.
You gotta watch Boggy Creek. Mysteries of Mr. Belgique, Chateau d'Armoire, Bruxelles, Belgium, X-Files, Pink Ballet. I'm heavy into Sasquatch. I love Sasquatch. Yeah, you guys gotta watch Boggy Creek. Or I'll send you the link on like Wikipedia on what happened at Boggy Creek. Because it's like an incident where they had an all-out shootout with one of those squatches. You know what I mean? It's like that's what they said happened. I don't know. Like it's like the 50s or 60s.
I don't know this case. Chateau de Amarois? Abraxas?
I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
Abraxas?
Wait, is that the
Abraxas,
Room of 1,000 Lights? The house that has the Room of 1,000 Lights, Fire Pixie?
Sounds like it.
Abraxas is mentioned in the novel Killer on a White Horse by some dude. And
excellent book.
You
I don't know who wrote
Weekend
it,
Guys
but
on the White Horse. But yeah, the Abraxas was a demon that had a chariot that was pulled by 4 white horses. And Abraxas is either perfect in physical form or thinks that he's perfect in physical form. Most likely the latter. But interestingly, I learned about the Abraxas demon from an episode of Charmed, but their Abraxas demon was completely different. It looked more like something out of Star Trek. But Fire Pixie, what's the Chateau d'Armoire? Is that like is that the room that has like the secret government meetings and so on, where they conduct the ritual with 1,000 points of light? That sounds familiar.
Have you guys heard of the Winchester House? Are you Ned?
Nope.
It's the mansion that the lady who's like the heir of the Winchester gun name made, and it has like all these like stairways to nowhere and just random. So it's supposed to be like
the house with stairways to nowhere. Yes, I've seen that because she had a curse that was put on the house, and she could the only way to keep like the evil things from happening was to just keep building. I don't know why, but she just had to keep building things, so she built the stairways to nowhere. So it's this really bizarre, twisted mansion. Is that in Louisiana?
It's in San Jose, California. I was up there one time and I almost went there, but it's supposed to be like all the souls of like those who were killed by Winchester guns, like you were saying. You know what I mean?
I was probably just thinking of New Orleans voodoo or something, but wow, San Jose. If I'm ever out there, I'd love to see that.
I was super close and I almost went one time, but I didn't go. I think I've also been to that Shining hotel
in Colorado.
You said you love Johnny Depp. Have you seen The Ninth Gate? I was going to bring up The Ninth Gate earlier. Yeah, I was going to bring up.
I see them. Yeah, but by
The Ninth Gate was disappointing. I expected a lot more from that movie, but I remember when I saw it in the theater back in the day. I love Depp though. Depp is the man. I'm looking forward to his return.
Yeah, Marc Dutroux was is a convicted pedophile to have kidnapped. Yeah, in Belgium. Yeah, to have kidnapped and killed some little girl. And I know really well the story. It was in 1994. And it was not really far from where I was living. I was living in the same town.
Wow.
And I was at the trial because one day, it's a real story. One day I was going to school on my feet because there is nothing else to go to the school, and I was on my way, and I see that there is another girl, let's say 100 meters in front of me, and I saw this big white van who stopped just in front of her, and 2 guys get out of the van and try to kidnap her. So she had tried to defend herself, self-defense, and I start to running, and the guy was being afraid. I don't know what did happen, but she was not kidnapped, and after that we have learned that it was Marc Dutroux, this convicted pedophile, and one of his fellow. So it was really crazy because it's it's a case who have touched everybody in Belgium because it was so huge at the time, and I was a little bit a part of this case in a watcher of this moment who happened to this girl who is fine. She's fine. There is nothing wrong with her. She's good.
That's
she's
good,
fine.
man.
But yeah, imagine that I was not there and she was defenseless and she could be kidnapped by this guy. So
Absolutely.
it's wow. Every time I think about that, I imagine.
Thank God you were there. I mean, you guys can't really carry guns in Belgium, you said, so that's a bit of a problem for me.
No, that's the stuff
That's
you cannot.
Slight
no.
issue.
Yeah,
I would
you
have had
can.
to make. I would have had to make a citizen's arrest in that situation, Jerome.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah, but,
remember Andrew Cunanan? Who
I
killed-
don't know.
Didn't he
That
kill
sounds
Versace?
familiar.
Andrew Cunanan? You don't remember serial killer Andrew Cunanan?
That
Or
sounds super familiar.
Cunanan. Yeah. Well, didn't he kill Versace? He's the one that shot.
Oh yeah.
Gianni Versace?
Yeah, I think it was Versace. Well, before he was caught, he was running around and he was wanted. And he was
Damn.
running around downtown Chicago when I was working down there. I was in high school. And man, I would be looking over my shoulder, like this guy could be anywhere. And he was spotted in the Gold Coast of Chicago before he then fled, I think, to Florida. And that's where he killed Versace. But man.
Yeah, when those Boston bombers were on the run, I remember they had us all on lockdown in the
Yeah.
Boston area. That was pretty.
You
pretty
understand
nuts.
the dread of everybody in San Francisco when the Zodiac was
Hell yeah.
before he was caught, he was causing
bit,
all
yeah.
this terror. It's like
Yep,
that.
yep.
I could feel that when I think about the story of Cunanan. It's like, man, can you imagine what all of
Or
them
that-
were feeling, and probably on a much higher scale?
Or that Son of Sam Summer in New
Oh.
York.
Yeah. And I have again a true story telling me by one of my friends living in America now. He was living in Belgium before, but his mother and his father was coming from America. They moved to Belgium, and after he moved with his parent again to America. And he told me this crazy story. Listen, guy, it's really crazy, but I can assure you it's true. It's a story that her mother told him. When she was 16, she was living in Ohio, and one day she was in, let's say, I don't know, you call that a place you drink your coffee, you eat your part of. You can eat, you can drink your coffee, coffee shop,
Yeah.
Sure.
a restaurant, or a cafe, yeah,
Diner?
Yeah. a diner, a diner, yeah.
Diner.
It
Okay.
was at the diner, and she was 16, and she was all alone, and there is this guy who comes up and asks her if it doesn't bother her to be with her and drink his coffee with her. So at the beginning, she's, yeah, okay, there is no problem. Okay, go sit. There is no problem.
Okay, I don't like where it's going. Carry on.
It start to talking with her, but she's not really receptive. She thinks there is very something strange with this guy, yeah? And she had said to her son, when I was seeing his eye, there was nothing in there, and it freaked me out. So she took an excuse for the guy because the guy was trying to date him for another day. She find an excuse and she goes to the phone in the diner and call his brother and say to him, come right now to took me because I'm with a guy and I don't feel it at all. And a brother say, okay, I'm going to take you. He take her They left. 3 years after, she's she's watching the TV. She see that Ted Bundy is arrested. When she saw the picture, she's on her back, and she's no way it was him.
I believe it.
So where did she say she was though? Like what city was
In
she
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Everything happens in Ohio. I swear, it's like the birthplace of serial killers.
Yeah.
I mean, even Charles
Yeah.
Manson's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
It's
Makes
not from
some sense.
Kentucky? No?
Cincinnati. Yeah, outside Cincinnati. Charles Manson.
Oh.
is.
Well, he
I was
spent a
thinking
lot
he
of
was
time
from
in West
Kentucky.
Virginia.
Yes.
Manson scum.
But in the same time, Charles Manson was not a serial killer.
Not well in proxy, you could say, right?
Yeah,
But
he was.
I mean,
included in the discussion.
And we don't know. Like all we could say is we don't know if he's a
Right.
serial killer or not, because I think there's a good amount of bodies buried in Death Valley, and who did what?
Can
Jeffrey
you imagine
Dahmer
this little
from
guy
Ohio.
killing people?
All right. Well, everybody,
we don't- you
I
got
will
it.
have to get off the stream now. Thank you so much for having me on here, Jerome.
Yeah,
Though, but I
we
have to
didn't
go.
even talk about the Halloween card yet. Where are you going?
Well, I guess we'll have to do that next year.
Do it
But also,
later. We'll cover it
maybe
later.
on Zodiac Monday and so on. Yes, we'll come back. But are you guys going live at 8:00, Melissa?
Yes, live at 8:00 on Jeff's TikTok channel.
All right. Yes,
And-
I'll
and
probably have to
possibly
catch the
Facebook.
replay. Like, is it something I can watch like the later broadcast? Hey, Jeff.
Hi. Hey.
Yeah, when you go live on TikTok, does it save the broadcast, or can you only watch it live?
I'm not sure, but we're gonna try recording it though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll definitely try to catch the later one. But anyway, thank you so much for having me on here, Jerome. And everybody knows Black Box Online Radio. There'll be a new episode talking about DB Cooper out tomorrow, and a new episode in the White Horse Killer Saga coming out on the weekends. And thank you so much, Cat Daddy Steve, for that, and Rob Beansman, everybody in the chat. Happy Halloween. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care, okay?
Bye,
Peace,
Ned.
Ned.
Bye, Ned.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, Ned.
BBO.
And
So you guys talking the Halloween card, Melissa, or what do you guys do your
Yeah.
live on?
Yeah, we're gonna talk the Halloween card. TikTok. You know, our YouTube channel's not really launched yet, so I don't know if I can go live on YouTube, but we'll try on Facebook in our Zodiac Killer and Me page. And we're just gonna do everything Halloween card.
We're just gonna talk about all our connections
Mhm.
from our suspect to the Zodiac Killer, and just kind of lay it out so where it just makes sense, you know.
Yeah, it's just sharing kind of our interpretation of the Halloween card. Obviously, it'll be conversational, and we could talk about it and hear other people's thoughts too. But I just feel like we haven't had really a good chance to outline a lot of the details in that card and why we've made the connections we've made, and how they tie to the case. So we're gonna try and do that tonight.
Who is you guys' suspect? I don't know if I'm familiar with it.
Loring D. Hill.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen the name.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
You need, Melissa,
Yeah,
you need
that's
to send
that's
me all
actually
your...
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
it's actually my grandfather. So everyone
Interesting.
says I look just like. So look at the sketch.
Hey, Jay
and then
Boy,
and
I
then look at
recognize
me.
you.
Look
Yeah,
at the
dude,
sketch
you
of
do
the Zodiac,
look,
and then look at me.
Yeah, you look unsettlingly like the Presidio Heights comp sketch. So
Yeah.
that's just perfect
Hey.
for Halloween.
Isn't it?
It's your
I
grandpa
feel it
was
in my
Zodiac?
bones. Oh wait, it's in my bones.
If you had the crew cut, we'd be in some real trouble here. Like this guy stepped out of 1969.
Yeah. Yeah.
Melissa, you don't have a YouTube channel yet.
No, but you could do Zodiac Killer and Me. You can look that up, but there's no content up there yet. We've
Yeah,
been just
Zodiac
really
Killer
sharing
and
our
Me.
content on Facebook. Zodiac Killer.
Is
and Me.
ZodiacKillerBomb.com. That's you, I assume.
Yeah, that's my website too. I have to do an overhaul and really put in a lot more updates, which I've been, posting the Zodiac letters on there. There's some, very basic information, but I did update some files and I uploaded pictures and like handwriting samples and everything on Discord.
Yeah, we would totally love for people to just. I know everyone's got their suspect, whatever, and we're up
Mhm.
against an information machine here, but we just hope that everyone would just take a look at our suspect and dig deep into it and kind of look at it, and it's really going to open your mind to the good chances that this may be the guy.
I'll take a look at it. I personally pretty much 100% gave up on suspects, but I mean, that being said, I still look at everything. So you know what I mean.
But I mean,
that's kind of where I'm at.
We totally understand that hesitation and the skepticism, because everybody's father or grandfather's the Zodiac killer.
I'm the real one.
Well, we get it. We totally get it. That's why it would be nice to just, give it an objective look at the information. I don't care whose grandfather he might be. Let's line the information up, look at it objectively, and see what fits and what doesn't. And then at that point, I think kind of like what Vincent was saying, at some point the community's got to rally around someone that is the most plausible, logical person and put pressure on the FBI, Department of Justice, and all, and whatever task force exists to look at it. And if he's ruled out, great, then we did our part, right? If he's ruled out, fine. But if he's not, like, you can't just let something like that go. Until he's ruled out, you have to, especially what we've got. I mean, it's worth looking into.
Were you saying something, Jerome?
Yeah, Melissa, you are really welcome in the panel to discuss about your suspect, because everybody is welcome to the panel to talk about their own suspect. And I always say you need to stay open-minded in this kind of case, because I have my own theory, but I accept that it could be completely wrong, and I could be completely wrong about everything. But it doesn't bother me, because when I'm right, I'm happy because I know that I'm right, and when I'm wrong, I'm happy because I learned something.
Right, exactly.
So I say all the time to everyone, try to stay open-minded about any suspect, because we don't know who the Zodiac was. For now, we don't know. We can expect some people, but real proof to say, yeah, it was this guy, no, we don't have. So we need to try to do like Melissa does, like Ross does, like Drew Bison does, like Richard Grinnell, like Ned. Try to continue to keep the story alive and talking and make debates, roundtable, talking about what we think about this subject, what do we think about this one, what perspective could came from this subject. So yeah, it's always good. And Melissa, if you want, you can do a completely show about your suspect like this. You will have more time to talk about your theory and
I think that at some point we should just really look at the suspects and maybe you guys can put together a certain amount of bullet points or questions of this what blah 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 about this suspect, what blah 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 about this suspect, and just rate them based off of probabilities and stuff like that. And I think that once you guys do that, we're just going to move right up the top.
And I will say, I mean, I'm trying not to speculate. I really am not. If I'm told a piece of information about Loring, I'm looking at his military records. I'm looking at dates and times. Can I place him in this area? What was happening when he wasn't in town versus when he was? Would he go on furlough? Do I have explanations for X, Y, and Z? Do I have explanations for the gaps based on information that's tangible, I can prove, not just now. Again, this is short of proving that he's actually the Zodiac, but you can't just make speculation like Gary Post had paint on his watch. Like, that's not what we're doing. When I talk about a watch, I can say, well,
You can be worse than
Clearly, someone did, but you pointed out that it didn't work.
Right, and I think Melissa's right. You know, like everyone keeps hanging on the same information. Like we should just like move it right out of the way. There's nothing wrong with going over this and going over that and just debunking it. And just kind of move it out of the way. But and then just an update on other things too is that we're going to submit DNA.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to set DNA, and I'll be honest with you, I could bet my life on that this is the guy. And you know what?
I'm going to say 5%. Just in case.
That he's not.
Well, we don't know yet.
5% that he is.
No, 5% that he's not. 95% he is. But again, I mean, I've seen documentaries about like DB Cooper and all these people that have had these suspects. They're like, yeah, and it looked so convincing on the information and how it almost lined up just like ours did. And then when they did the DNA, it was like, nope, that guy's not DB Cooper. So I always want to just be, rational.
So some follow-up questions. What DNA are you guys planning on testing it against?
That's a good. Well, DNA. We could test DNA, hair samples, fingerprints.
Yeah, we're hanging on to that right now.
I mean, we've told the
FBI.
FBI.
Fingerprints are good because the story that this comes from the 78 letter, like it's an unconfirmed Zodiac letter. So I mean, if that was a hit for you guys, that would be sick and impressive. You know what I mean? Because it would kind of essentially confirm one that's not really 100% confirmed, and then maybe even make an argument that confirmed letters go past Exorcist, which is what I think anyway.
Yep.
But are you guys in for Riverside, or are you out, or do you think it's separate?
Oh man, you know what? Here's the thing. I can, for all of the canonical murders, I could put him in Alameda. I can put him in that spot. I can explain the gap, the 7-month gap. I can explain why his activity increased after the July 4th murder. I mean, I can explain all the way through 1970. I can explain this, right? But when it comes to the non-canonical murders, I cannot put him in Riverside. I can't put him in, Santa Barbara or Oceanside. However, I haven't ruled him out yet because just the nature of his job. He was an aviation structural mechanic, an airplane mechanic in the Navy for 20 years. We're talking career Navy man. And before he was in VAW 13, which is the Zappers Dragon Squadron that went to Vietnam on the USS Enterprise. He was in a training squadron, VT 28, and training squadrons would always go in and out. And he was also in a helicopter squadron. And I know that there's a base in Southern California that was basically like the center of helicopter military activity. But I don't have it. It's not as convincing as what I've got in Northern California.
Right. That's what we're going to go over and try to get as far as we can. So,
I only brought it up because Riverside RPD would probably be willing to test. So, I mean, at the very least, it would eliminate it. But
and you know what? That's a great point, because if they found cigarette butts at Riverside, we know he's Loring smoked no filter Pall Malls.
Yeah, and that's summer or that when this happened, my mother did go to Walt Disneyland.
Disneyland, yeah.
Disneyland, that same time frame. You know what I mean? So,
and we know he had cousins in Bakersfield.
I gotta run and go get pizza.
Thank you. But we had cousins. Well, we know he had a cousin in Bakersfield. I've got a theory about Bakersfield too, that Montoya murder. Dominique Montoya, who is 18 years old, murdered on April 28th, 1967. That's 2 days before the Bates had to die letters were sent. Yeah. And we know that in the confession letter, he said there would be more. The only reason I kind of think that this Montoya case matches somewhat of the MO is she was bludgeoned to death with a hammer. Her shirt was cut open, but there was no sign of robbery or sexual assault. She was the same age as Sherry Joe Bates. And it was at a laundromat, like around 10:30 at night, where she was by herself. So library versus laundromat. But again,
almost the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that same kind of gap. I don't know if there was any phone calls or letters made on that case, but if Bakersfield could test, I want to learn more about this Bakersfield case. But again, if this is something, it can open up doors to all time. We'll be so busy. I mean, I don't want to take away anybody's glory from anybody who wrote books, because trust me, if this is it. We're going to all be busy researching all these other cold cases to see if, they line up.
How many more? Hell of a lot more down there. I mean, there's Nikki Benedict in 1967 in Poway. There's a few more here in San Diego, and then there's also like the Melina Rodriguez thing. I think that's made in 67. So.
And what's interesting about that case is that was in Dublin, in Pleasanton, and Loring lived in the temporary military housing base right there in Dublin until his permanent housing in Alameda off of the base was established. And again, these are the type of, is this coincidence or not? And I can prove this because I've got his military record that says it and the dates, like in June of 67. But can I prove he's guilty? No. So that's like, it's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Suspect game is a tough game. I have my own theory in Suspect that I really don't push hard in the main series or any of my interview series because I haven't taken the time to research it. And until I find something presentable, it's just like, I just leave it on the back burner. And it's kind of like Jerome said, yeah, great. and if something else comes up, it's not the end of the world. But so on one of my last shows, my boys, Craig and Dion, did like the influence of the media articles and Zodiac's direct responses in his letters. And we did like the Halloween card. He came up with a lot of stuff about the murders of the prostitutes in the Tenderloin that basically had their eyes cut out. And there was like by rope and by fire crimes. And it seems like Zodiac was almost directly, referencing some of that. So I would take a look at that if you guys haven't heard about stuff.
We should.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah. It goes a lot more deep than that. I also saw one I was telling you about, Jerome, the Dragon card. There was this 1962 murder crime where these two gold prospectors like found a gold, I guess, like in the gold mine or in some kind of shaft or hole or something like that. So there was some guy had a theory that the Dragon card was referencing that. Them finding like another girl that was like another cold case. So there's just a lot of random, like kind of like you were saying, random references and random stuff out there that people are going to be digging up for years, trying to figure out what these references are, you know what I mean? So that one was on Grinnell's.
There's a member of a Facebook page, Rick Bain, who even dug up a case out of Orange County that was 2 teenage girls murdered. And it was almost identical to Furlong and Snoozy. It's almost like, I mean, and I got that articles and stuff posted on my page, but that would be interesting too if there's a connection with those. I mean, we will be busy digging up and trying to figure out, if there's been, because this is the Zodiac's words. I mean, he says they're all over the place, so it wouldn't be out of character or question to wonder and look into that a little more.
Rich Grinnell just dug up this. So we were talking about Gaviota Beach, obviously, because it was in the Netflix, and then I have my episode on my channel on it. But so we were talking Hood Garcia before, and then in relation to Dominguez Edwards and Rich Grinnell on ZodiacCiphers.com. I don't know if it's his top article, but he has this new article about basically what you were just referencing there, Melissa, which is basically a string of cold cases in Santa Barbara, which are like either young couples like Dominguez Edwards and Hood Garcia, or like seeming like random, like younger age women, like what you were saying, like earlier 20s. I believe this, I don't know I might be messing this up, Rich. I think the girl was 22 or maybe even younger than that. And she just got shot on this random canyon road in the night with like a 22 long, which is obviously the same caliber as, Dominguez Edwards and Lake Herman Road and all that stuff. But I think his article, maybe listed 3 or 4 of those crimes. So at the very least, if that's not Zodiac, then you have a whole nother one that killed maybe as many people or more than Zodiac just in Santa Barbara alone, which is literally just from Gaviota to Lompoc to, you know, the greater Santa Barbara, you know what I mean? So like
Exactly.
like Melissa said, as far as all these little pockets, and then there's the ones we dug up in South Lake Tahoe by Donna Lass. There's a bunch
Yep.
of like seemingly serial killers abducting the girls who work at the casino and stuff
Yep.
there. So there's all these little pockets of these kind of like just like seemingly cells of serial killers, but you know, it's tough to actually determine which ones is Zodiac taking credit for, or which ones did he have more involvement in, you know, which is what we've been, I think our last shows have been about.
Right.
And Melissa, if you did agree, you are my next guest.
Okay.
Because I really want to hear about your theory, and we have here a lot of
You're gonna
questions
get a lot
for
of
you.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I
we're
was
gonna-
wondering this too, height and weight and shoe size. I was going to ask you and Jeff that earlier.
Yep. So his height was 6 foot, weight anywhere between 168 pounds and 203 pounds. So again, he had a 20-year in the military, in the Navy, 20 years. So yeah, the lightest I've seen him is about 170, but he was like 18 years old then. But when you're talking about, you know, from 1968 to 1970, yeah, he was 180 pounds to like 203. And then his shoe size was 10 and a half.
Widow's Peak?
Yes, Widow's Peak. In 68, he was 34 years old. He was born in
What's his
1934.
What's his mathematical capacity in terms of cipher creation?
Yep. So I found on newspapers.com, I researched, you know, his mother was a columnist. She had her own columnist in the local newspaper in North Lewisburg or Marysville, Ohio. And I found a reference all the way back to when he was like first grade, where he was top of his class in mathematics. I mean, I know that's first grade, but
Nice.
yeah, no, he was a numbers guy. I mean, you have to be a fighter pilot, a rescue helicopter pilot, you know, mechanic.
I hate to rain on your parade, but Jerome knows how I am. I don't think the shooting at Blue Rock Springs is that accurate. So somebody with like a 20-year military history is seemingly too good of a shot for Zodiac shot. I mean, there'd have to be some there could be factors that could worsen it, but literally standing in Mike Mageau's window and missing a few times is kind of embarrassing, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I get that.
That's just
I
what I
do
personally
have,
think.
I can prove he had 22 caliber training.
Yeah, it was the
That's
next
from
question.
his
That's good.
military records. It's documented there. But
What he carry in service, Zodiac has a 9 at Blue Rock.
I don't know what he carried. He did have a lot of guns. He also did the night watch at NAS Alameda. So he was a watchman. So I'm sure he had a weapon, but I can't tell you exactly what his personal arsenal was. But
I like
do
the
know he had-
helicopter base. That might be Pendleton. I'll have to look up what that helicopter base is.
yeah.
This is it right here. Karen and Sigor. This is what Rich sent me. Shot at Sycamore Canyon Road, 2 miles north by the Crow from Santa Barbara Beach, where Hood and Garcia were murdered. So like, that's just 3, and then Dominguez Edwards 4 or 5. I mean, but I feel like there's quite a few more in the article that Richard had. ZodiacCyphers.com.
The motive.
The motive.
Your,
Okay.
your suspect's motive for the Zodiac crimes.
Yeah. So the motive, I've dug into family history, because you want to know kind of what makes this person tick, what can piss them off. So going back to before he was stationed in California, he was stationed in Kingsville, Texas. Okay. And this is going back to he joined the service in 1954. So it's 3 years into his military service. So in 1957, he had 2 daughters. One was about 3 years old. The other one was about 1.5 years old. And he was a very abusive individual. And some of the lore goes back to, he had threw his infant daughter in the crib and broke her hip. And his first wife at the time was pregnant with their 3rd child. So she was threatening to leave him and gearing up to leave him. Well, this is the part that I cannot confirm, and trust me, I've tried. But to go back to 1957, it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
But what happened was his first wife had a friend who was a male, and he happened to be a cab driver. and he was helping her pack her things to go back to Ohio and leave. And he walks in, Loring walks in the middle of this and shoots the cab driver. And they find his body like 2 or 3 blocks down the road. So whether he survived the shooting and was like tried to escape and then dropped dead, or whether he dragged his body out. But Loring claimed that it was a home invasion. So he completely got off scot-free. He wasn't convicted, wasn't arrested. So I have no arrest record.
Smart play. I like that angle. I'll have to try that one.
Yeah. But she did end up fleeing, and she did end up leaving, going back to Ohio. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, he was cheating on her, and he had got his mistress pregnant. So his first wife has the baby in Ohio. The baby is born November 13th, 1957, dies the same day. He doesn't survive his first day of birth. It's a son. Meanwhile, she refuses to grant Loring a divorce. Okay. So Loring has an illegitimate son on the way. This son is born February 28th, 1958. And then he ends up marrying his mistress on his birthday. Talk about another narcissistic move, right? On March 20th, 1958. So then he's forced to adopt his son, his oldest son. And this, not only the narcissistic injury of leaving him, but then also not granting him a divorce and causing all this angst, it enraged him. So his first wife was his high school sweetheart. Okay, love of his life, high school sweetheart. So my theory is that his motive, cab driver, being the kind of the archetype of the person that helped his first wife leave him. And then also these young couples in Lover's Lane around the same age. They got married when she was 17, 18. So they were the exact same age that they got married is for me, the motive. He had some disdain for, I think, probably the lack of control in the military. When you're government issued, you don't get to choose person, place, thing, or what you're doing. He also, from a military record standpoint, had one court-martial that I could find where when he was stationed on the USS Essex, he stole his shipmates' fishing equipment. So he got 3 months in the brig, demoted, fined. I mean, he got hit pretty hard for just stealing a little bit of fishing equipment. So, but I do know he fishes because he was stealing equipment. So that tells me something.
Fishing's good, but that is a major slip up for Zodiac to get caught stealing fishing equipment on the boat.
Well, this was in 1960. So this was, I think he probably started to get better at what he was doing, but I don't know. But yeah, that's the motive. To me, it's a better motive than I've heard for Arthur Lee Allen, for Gary Post, for Gakowski.
Yeah, Arthur Lee Allen doesn't have any motive.
He doesn't have a motive. You got it. For somebody to kill 5 people and do this, you need a motive. You've got to have a motive.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my degree in psychology, and motivation, they teach you a whole class on motivation and how important that is. We don't get up in the morning without being motivated to either eat breakfast or go somewhere. We don't do anything without something that motivates us.
For sure.
So here, about his angry, bipolar, deadpan, Brian.
Personality.
Yep. Well, yeah, his oldest daughter describes him as mentally unstable, but yet his youngest daughter, thinks he walked on water. So
that's quite some range.
From what I've heard is but then I've heard he was aggressive, I heard he's abusive, but I also heard that not all the times growing up with him were bad. He had when they transferred from Texas to California, they had to go all the way up to Whidbey Island in Washington for 3 months of training before they came back down to Alameda. And so he put all the kids in the car and took them across country and drove the entire way. And they would stop at every, Indian reservation, every sideshow they could find. I mean, they would stop and camp along the way and things like that. So I think those experiences were good, but there were some hellish experiences that I've heard from him too. Hellish. bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, Rob say here. Yeah. Married, normal job, kids, abusive. Yeah.
Is he educated? What did he do in the military? I think she said a radar.
Nope,
no.
not radar. But he was high school educated. But then the rest of the training he got was all military training. So he was in like he was an aviation structural mechanic. So responsible for hydraulics, engines, taking care of the skin. So when you talk about paint on a watch, well, he would repaint all the outsides of these planes. And he was responsible for making sure all the planes in Vietnam, his squadron took off and came back. But he had a wide range. So in 20 years, he started first as a fighter pilot. And again, when you're in the Navy, you're like reassigned to different squadrons frequently, right? So he has fighter pilot training. He has helicopter pilot training. He has the mechanic training. And so his education really, like his rank or distinction is AMS Petty Class Officer 3. He worked his way up to Petty Class Officer 2, but then got demoted back to 3. And then he had to work his way back up to 2 again, which he did do. In 1967, I think he was reestablished as a Petty Class Officer 2.
Left or right-handed, Melissa?
He was right-handed. That's from his record, right-handed.
Good start.
Fascinating.
All right, Jerome, I think I'm going to slide. Be a great Halloween with you guys. Talking horror movies, talking Zodiac. And if you want to do a panel next week,
on Monday,
the day before the apocalypse, we should react to Ken Mains, the Ken Mains Citizen Unsolved No More, and with that new one with Voight, and the because they had Darlene Ferrin's brothers, her two brothers, and that what was called Citizen something, the Zodiac. Yeah, you guys, I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember every YouTube title here, but yeah. Check out the Zodiac Files. Check out Planet X Filmworks, and like I said, they live Election Day review on next Saturday, so should be a classic. Great show with you guys. Happy Halloween.
Will do.
Happy Halloween, Ross.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good day, and subscribe to Planet X Film here.
Yep.
So yeah, like I was saying before, Melissa, you are welcome in the panel to talk about your findings, your suspect, your view on the case. Like this, we can talk about everything you have found. If you can, send me everything you have.
Okay.
Not your research. I mean your website, your where people can find you. Like this, I put that in the description below.
Okay. Will do.
And yeah, you are really welcome. It's the first time I'm talking with you in live.
That's right.
And it really, I'm really glad because you comes up with a new suspect that I have already heard the name. I don't know if it was by you or by somebody else who was talking about your research, but Laurent Dean L. I have already heard this name. Yeah, I've already heard this name 3 or 4 times. So it was not that I don't know anything about this name. I already heard this name in the Zodiac, but it was coming from you, obviously. And so send me everything you have where the people can find your research and find you and contact you like this. Put everything in the comment section down below. And if you agree, I invite you to to a show to talk with you about the suspect, the entire show. You have all the time you want. You can come with your husband to talk together. And
I appreciate that. Absolutely. I would love it.
It will be really great, and I'm sure that the panel and people in the chat and people and the viewer will be really interesting to know more about your suspect and your findings and your book that I won the first
You get the first copy.
I want the first copy.
You're so hospitable. I appreciate that.
But I love books. So when there is a friend of mine like Ned who or Drew Bison who wrote books, I buy their books because I love books. So if they come from a friend, it's
I
a
know
plus.
I've been kind of struggling with that and fighting with that decision in my mind, but it's like, how else do you outline all the information? Because there's so much to explain and unpack.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see any other way around but to put it in a book for people to just digest it.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I prefer real book than this Kindle book or stuff like this. Plus, you can put a picture, you can put drawing, you can put everything you want in your book. So yeah, I hope you will have soon a release of your book.
Okay.
I hope so.
Now I got you and Ned pressure.
Yeah. We pressure you.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a lot of free time, but I need to start being more consistent about whatever free time I do, just pouring into this so that it gets done. And then
I'm joking, take your time, take all the time you need. There is no pressure, never pressure here. Nobody, never. And if you want to come on Monday, it's Zodiac Monday. So this is the panel we talking about the Zodiac, and you're already welcome. Ready?
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna go prepare for our TikTok / Facebook, and if we can get on, I don't know if I can stream it on YouTube yet because I don't have enough subscribers. I need 50 subscribers. But we'll try our best, and if not, I'll post it on YouTube. We'll record everything, and I'll still post it there.
And I will share your video as soon as possible, as soon as you send me the link. And
awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
We will do things. And thank you very much, Melissa.
All right. Well, take care. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Bye. See you soon. Oh, excellent Halloween party with Mr. B. So I left to put my mask on for the end. For the end of the day. Oh, come on. It looks like a little bit a Slipknot singer, don't you? Isn't? Oh. I push my fingers into my eyes in a holy way. No, sure. It was a fun show. I don't know what you think, but it was a fun show. Yeah, I'm stranger and I'm like this. Well, so I'm a fucking killer. I'm going to kill you all. Sorry. Yeah, it was good stuff. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for your pixie. Thank you, Heather, Edward Safer. Thank you, Cat Daddy Steve. Thank you, everybody. And I hope you will spend a really nice Halloween night. Don't kill anyone, please. It will be better, but it's upon you. But don't try to don't kill anyone. And yeah, in the United States, it will be the election. So I don't know. I don't like Trump. But I don't know what Kamala Harris could do for your country. So I don't know. I have no opinion. Try to do your best, and we will see. But I don't think Trump is the good one for this job. But it's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's better than Kamala Harris. I don't know. I have no idea. So, spending a nice Halloween. And I see you soon. I see you on it's Saturday, to talking with Ned about the disappearance of Shannon Gilbert. And I saw you on Monday for Zodiac Monday, which is candy corn. I love it. And candy corn. Yeah, I'm candy corn. You napper racket, napper napper racket, napper napper racket, napper napper racket. Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy, but it's Halloween, so you need to have fun. So I'm a little bit crazy today, but it will not be like this all the time, you know. I'm just crazy for today and right now. After that, it will be more professional, you know. Yeah. So spend a really nice Halloween day, Halloween night, and I see you soon. And for that, having fun and goodbye.